Okay. I'm live, I guess. All right. There was no go live that time. We just went live. At least that's what it seems like to me. I'm going to double check here because I'm not about to start this stream and, just have have YouTube do some weird stuff on me so that we don't actually have a stream. That would kind of annoy the crap out of me. All right. It does look like we're live. Cool. All right. Well, I'm here just a little bit early, just a couple minutes early. For the stream. The stream did get moved up to 4 p.m. instead of 8. Guys, graveyard shift is terrible. Okay. I say it's terrible, but, it is what it is. Yeah, I haven't slept since, I don't know. I haven't slept very well. And I knew I was going to be a zombie later on tonight, so I went ahead and moved the stream up just to make sure that I still had some energy and some focus and stuff in order to be able to put on a good live stream here and not just be a boring zombie the whole time. So, so we're here. You can see the title of the stream. Choosing a main for Endwalker and checking out all the job changes. This, guys, is what I have been waiting for, okay? So back on my previous channel when I was doing stuff for Final Fantasy XIV and I was talking about, making job guides and stuff like I used to do for World of Warcraft, but doing that for Final Fantasy, the reason that I didn't do any of those videos, and I mentioned it a couple times, was because I knew there were going to be job changes with the new expansion, Endwalker, coming up here in November. And I didn't want to put all the time and effort into making these guides just to turn around and have to make a bunch of corrections or a bunch of new guides in a couple of months. But now we've got a lot more of the information. They've actually shown off the new job actions and things that are changing with each of the different jobs in Final Fantasy. They've also gone ahead and put out the tooltips for the different spell changes. The media tour has happened and people have gotten a chance to play the classes in Endwalker. And today what we're going to do is we're just going to get into the groove and get hyped about Endwalker, okay? We're going to kick things off by just trying to set the mood a little bit. But then we're going to get in and we're going to check out all the jobs, all the changes, everything that's going on. We're going to be using some of the videos from the YouTubers who did get to play the media tour, the press release of the Endwalker preview. I'm not in that group. Obviously, I haven't been hardcore making Final Fantasy XIV content like some of them have, and I'm not just as big as some of them have. Are. So I didn't get a chance to play and participate myself. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to offer firsthand stuff here, but I'm sure you guys know that analysis and stuff is exactly what I do. And we'll be able to check these out and just get a feel for things. And I'm going to be offering my opinions and not necessarily reacting so much as commenting on the different class changes and overall what I'm thinking of the different classes and stuff like that. So we're going to kick things off. I was going to start off by watching the Endwalker trailer to kind of get into the groove of things, but it's almost a 6-minute trailer, and I don't want to spend 6 minutes watching the trailer. You've probably seen it. I've seen it. You can look it up yourself. But I did want to start by taking a look at the job actions trailer. So this is something that they put out not too long ago, actually. I think it was September 17th, so yeah, almost exactly a month ago. And this showed off just some of the visuals of how the new job actions and abilities were going to play in Endwalker. So we're going to switch over here, and I'm going to have my screen up here. I'm going to full screen this stuff so we can all check it out together. I'll be down here in the corner, with my commentary and everything. So let's get in. So this is the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Job Actions trailer. It is a little bit on the long side, but we're going to kind of just watch some of it, at least, to get into the mood and get hyped and get into that just Final Fantasy vibe here. Now, I have watched this whole thing myself, but here we go. So obviously in Endwalker, we're going to be going to the moon, right? That's exciting. All right, so we're kicking it off with the Dragoon with the melee DPS here. They do change locations throughout the video here. It's kind of hard to tell, really, you know, what's new and what's old and stuff like that just from these videos. But you'll notice one thing for sure is that a lot of the job gauges and the job, icons, I guess, the bars and stuff that you have changed. They've either got something new added in, they've had something taken away, or they've just updated the artwork for Endwalker, and they look pretty sweet. So I like the new look of the Dragoon one here. It's pretty cool. I like how the eye goes kind of crazy there when you get it. So this is going to be, you know, it's going to be fun just to have the new visuals. And also one thing I noticed about the job gauges here is that a lot of them are a lot more compact, even when you are using the like fancy version that has all the artwork and stuff. The Warrior's a bad example because it's still just as big as it was before. But I do like that they're kind of making those a little bit more compact because I do like the appearance of them and I prefer to use those in my UI. But realistically, the minimalist ones just kind of like fit better and line up better. So yeah, we've got, you know, this goes through. I encourage you to take a look at this if you want to look at just a showcase of all the visuals for the different jobs and stuff that we're going to see, all the new abilities and things like that. But what we're actually going to do here is we're going to get in and we're going to take a look at Lazy Soar's videos for the different class changes that are coming in Endwalker. The reason we're taking a look at his videos is he has a pretty good sense of humor, and most of his videos are very short. We've got, what is it? 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got somewhere in the vein of like 20 different classes, 20 different jobs to look at. So even with, you know, 3 and 5 minute videos, we're still talking at least an hour of just watching videos and checking this out. You know, I'm going to have commentary and stuff to go along with it. So it's going to be, you know, that's the reason we're doing it on the live stream, is because it's going to take some time. But I figure we would start out checking out Lazy Soar's videos. So, you know, he's got great Final Fantasy XIV videos, so I encourage you to check him out, you know, whenever you want to find some information about Final Fantasy XIV. But we'll check his out to get kind of the, like, short and quick version of the different changes for each of the jobs. And then for anything that I want to deep dive into, we're going to go over and check out Mr. Happy's videos. So Mr. Happy is a YouTuber who's been covering Final Fantasy XIV for like ages. And most of his videos are somewhere in the 5 to 15 minute range. So he's goes a little bit more in depth, and he shows the differences between 5.0 and Endwalker, and kind of covers things in a little bit of a different way. So we'll kick things off with Lazy Soar, and we're going to start, as always, in the place that I like to start when it comes to MMOs. We're going to start with the tanks and check out the different tank updates and changes. So we've got the Gunbreaker, Dark Knight, Warrior, and the one other one. Where's it at? Paladin. That's the one I'm looking at. Okay. So I'm the least interested in Warrior, so I think we'll check out Warrior first. Then we'll go Paladin, Dark Knight, and Gunbreaker. And we're going to see what's up here. So I'm going to crank him up a little bit. I'm going to try not to comment over the video too much, but to pause when I need to. And yeah, we'll just figure this whole reaction thing out. So, all right, we're going to jump into Warrior changes. Let's go.
Warrior smash, and it smashed good. I think if you like playing Warrior, you're going to still like playing Warrior. And if you stopped playing Warrior before, well, maybe all of the self-healing that it got will bring you back. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development build of Endwalker, and everything that you see about them. But anyway, let's take a look.
Obviously, everything's subject to change.
Firstly, and most importantly, Onslaught has 3 charges now. Warrior was the first tank to ever get a gap closer, and so it is asserting its dominance over the other tanks by learning how to do more of them faster. Some of its
Okay, so I love gap closers on the tank. Getting 3 charges of Onslaught is pretty cool. This is not going to make me play Warrior, but it's going to make playing Warrior a lot better. I like the charge aspect there. That's definitely cool.
damage stuff changed, like the Storm's Eye damage buff. It's now called Surging Tempest. I don't know why. Warrior got the same stack treatment as the other tanks. You'll get 3 stacks of Inner Release, which will allow you to use Beast Gauge actions for free, and also guarantee that all of them are crit direct hits, of course. And that too will extend your Surging Tempest damage buff. Now for all the healing stuff. Shake It Off will now heal, in addition to the shield that it gives, for 300 potency. Nascent Flash will now also add a 10% damage mitigation for 4 seconds, and a 400 potency shield. Warrior is a scholar now, and Equilibrium will now give yourself a 200 potency regen. And Raw Intuition is now a 10% damage mitigation, but it will also restore HP for each weapon skill that you land at 400 freaking potency. And then at level 82, it becomes...
Whoa. Each weapon skill that you land at 400 potency, that is pretty insane. That's a lot of healing, actually, because it's based off the damage that you're doing, not just off of a random, heal stat. That's nuts.
Blood Wedding. Yeah, Blood Wedding. And it adds a 400 potency shield. Man, what the... Warrior is just a healer. There's a new AoE version of Upheaval.
Make sure that's not my Discord real quick. I don't think it is, but go away.
Called Orogeny, and neither of them cost Beast Gauge anymore, so they were just a 30-second cooldown off global now. And finally, at level 90, you get Primal Rend. This is a guaranteed crit direct hit AoE at 700 frickin' potency. It can only be executed...
What? Okay. Hold up, let's go back. Primal Rend. A critical direct hit to target and all enemies nearby with a potency of 700 for the first enemy and 70% less for all remaining. Dang.
Direct hit AoE at 700 frickin' potency. It can only be executed after using Inner Release, but it does not consume your Inner Release stacks. So that's good. And it's a gap closer with a 20 Lalafell distance. Yeah. And that'll do it for Warrior. It got so much mitigation in Lalafell distance. Yeah. And that'll do it for Warrior. It got so much mitigation. It can only be executed after using Inner Release, but it does not consume your Inner Release stacks. So that's good. And it's a gap closer with a 20 Lalafell distance.
It's him, not me.
And that'll do it for Warrior. It got so much mitigation and healing, it's crazy. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the Endwalker job changes are out now, so
okay, so just general thoughts on Warrior. So obviously, like he said, they've got more healing and they got more shielding. It's nice that they have some extra charges on Gap Closer, but just from my experience playing Warrior, and I'm not an expert, okay, I've played Warrior up to a little bit over level 50. It doesn't seem like the changes in Warrior are too crazy. And there's a lot of jobs where the changes are not too crazy with Endwalker. There's a tweak here or there. They got an extra ability, something like that. The healing and shielding, I think, is a pretty big deal for Warrior. But at this point, I think Warrior is probably lowest on the list for, thing I want to tank with. Maybe tied for, lowest with Paladin. So nothing I saw here was oh shit, I need to play Warrior. But it definitely was okay, when I play Warrior, I think I'm gonna like all these changes. So I'm on board with this, but definitely not going to make the top 5 of things I'm considering maining in Endwalker. All right, let's check out Paladin.
Endwalker's star holy boy. I know why you're here.
Yes, so Paladin is the featured class for Endwalker. It's the one that the Warrior of Light is taking on for, the storyline of the game. So every expansion, the Warrior of Light adapts one of the classes, and usually the side characters, have some sort of class as well that's associated with it. I think, I want to say Alizé is a red mage. We've got... I can't think of his name. The guy who talks is so weird. Why could he has such a weird name? I can't think of it. Anyway, he's an Astrologian, etc. So Paladin is the featured job for Endwalker.
You want to see unlimited blade works, don't you? Well, let me tell you, Paladin got a lot more cool stuff than just that. This cape is one of those things. Seems like it would look really good if you were to like, just...
That is a pretty sick set of armor. It's the one from the trailer, right? Like, but it looks good. Like, it's got a lot of good details in there in the armor and stuff. And the shield's pretty sick looking.
Wear that on the moon or something. But first, I have a disclaimer.
I don't like the tail sticking out of there.
Throughout all of the jobs, I would not worry about them. But anyway, let's take a look.
All right.
Holy Spirit and a Holy Circle will now heal you. Yeah, and Divine Veil will heal everybody when it procs. Well, not you. You don't get it. And it's not just a little heal. All of them are a 400 potency heal to you. Yeah, good thing too, because I think all the sages might forget to heal you besides, their automatic DPS healing. Sheltron has been upgraded to Holy Sheltron, which still does the blocks, but it's also a 15% damage mitigation and a regen. The blocks.
Hell yeah. Okay, hell yeah. Man, I mean, like, I know Sheltron's not an underwhelming ability, but it just seemed kind of boring, playing with Sheltron on Paladin. So I'm happy to see that it's getting some more stuff. It's getting a little bit more, interesting.
Also a 15% damage mitigation and a regen. The regen is called Knight's Benediction. Again, I think Paladin is sick of healers not healing them. Actually, Intervention will also apply a 10% damage mitigation and a regen to your target. So Paladin thinks they could just be the healer instead, do their job for them. Spirits Within has
I mean, that sounds about right. And now that I'm seeing like the additional healing and the shielding coming in on the Paladin here, I'm starting to wonder like what this is going to mean for content in Endwalker. Like, is this shielding and, healing going to be necessary? I also remember them talking during their last, big media push before this one about how they were changing a lot of tanking abilities so that they would have more uses, and pushing them at like the appropriate times would make more sense. Not like you had to like hit them like by reflex and be like, oh, I got it, or no, I missed, but just like knowing when to time different abilities was going to help out. So maybe it's something like that. We're choosing like healing over mitigation or mitigation over healing, or something along those lines might play a bigger part in the content coming up in Endwalker. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but like seeing how, the changes that are getting listed here for Paladin are along those lines of like more shields, more heals and stuff like that. It makes me think maybe that's going to be the case. So we'll have to see, like, does Dark Knight and Gunbreaker, do they get similar things? Because if they do, then I feel like this is just kind of like a slight design change for tanks in general.
Finally been upgraded. We've had it since A Realm Reborn. It's called Expiation, but this time it's also an AoE. Now for a pretty fundamental change. Requiescat is no longer some kind of timer. Instead, it'll give you 5 stacks of Requiescat that can be spent on your magic attacks. This ensures...
Okay, this is something that I really like about the change in Paladin. I remember they talked about this on that live stream. We're going to call that live stream... We're going to call it Media Tour 1. They talked about it during Media Tour 1, where now instead of having this window where you have to try to spam in as many magic attacks as you can, you now get these stacks that you can spin. And I'm sure he's going to talk about the rest of it here, but I like this a lot because if you don't know, Paladin has a rotation where you basically spend time doing your melee attacks and everything like that and building up your MP, and then you just kind of like blow a bunch of it and stuff on these magic attacks that are ranged and heal and stuff. And the key component of that is the Requiescat spell here, and I like that it's not a window anymore.
That you will never miss one due to ping or skill speed issues. Also, they will always be instant speed and always increase your magic damage by 100%. Now, since you have 5 stacks, you can use 4 of them on Holy Spirits or Holy Circles, and then go into the real reason why we are all here. The new Confiteor combo. You only need 1 Requiescat to use.
Okay, he said earlier Infinite Blade Works, okay? And I know that's from like Fate Stay Night, I believe. But I have not seen this, okay? I haven't seen a lot of these spells in action. I may have seen them during the job trailer, but I haven't seen them actually like performed as if you're the character. So this is gonna be totally new for me. So let's check it out.
You can use 4 of them on holy spirits or holy circles, and then go into the real reason why we are all here. The new Confiteor combo. You only need 1 Requiescat to use it, but it will eat up all of your stacks if there are more, so don't let it do that. It's a 4-part combo, and all of them replace Confiteor.
Oh,
it's Confiteor
shit.
into Blade of Faith,
Oh!
into Blade of Truth, into Blade of Valor. The 3 blade attacks will all restore your MP, and Blade of
Okay,
Valor
I'm not even
will
listening
apply
to what he's saying.
potency
Whoa.
AoE dot, and it doesn't stack with.
Yo,
It's a
what the
1
fuck?
Requiescat to use it, but it will eat up all of your stacks if there are more, so don't let it do that. It's a 4-part combo, and all of them replace Confiteor.
Oh,
it's
that's
Confiteor into
fucking
Blade
cool,
of Faith,
man.
into Blade of Truth, into Blade of Valor. The 3 blade attacks will all restore your MP, and Blade of Valor will apply an 80 potency AoE dot, and it doesn't stack with Goring Blade, so do not override it, you know, like I did right there. Oh yeah, and Intervene is now a 20 Lalafell distance instead of 15. Yes, 1 Yam is exactly 1 Lalafell in distance. And that is Paladin. I'm gonna have to give it up to Paladin. They've really come a far way.
Okay, so instantly here, I'm like, yes. Okay. Paladin over Warrior all day for me, just based on what I saw there. I already thought that Paladin was a little bit more interesting with having that like cycle between using the spells that cost MP and then using your melee abilities. But those spell effects on that sword stuff was so good. Oh, that was so cool. Nice. Okay, well right now, we've seen 2 tanks. Paladin's taking the top spot for me, but I did kind of do this in reverse order here, so we're going to see the next 2 tanks, which I was, from the start, more interested in. So let's see. I'm really hoping there's something cool for Gunbreaker, but we'll see. Let's get into Dark Knight. This is by far the most, like, job gauge heavy tank. Oh man. Man, the arm. They're showing off the armors. I do have a video we can watch at the end where it's just like they show all the class armors. We're going to do that at the end. Jimson, what's up? Hey, thanks for tuning in. Aggie, how's it going? Wave, thanks for tuning in as well. Good to see you guys. All right, let's find out about Dark Knight.
You know, Dark Knight had its time in the sun, or darkness maybe, rather. And even though this expansion is called Endwalker, Dark Knight thinks it's actually called Shadowbringers 2. This
that's pretty sick armor, honestly. And that's a sick sword.
is its job gear. I think it checks all of the edgy boxes, you know, on account of the fact that boxes have 4 edges. And I like the red tattered crotch cape in particular. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development.
We know.
But anyway, let's take a look.
Okay. Let's do it.
Firstly, and most importantly, Dark Knight has a new move, aptly named Shadowbringer. You can be the Shadowbringer.
Of course, that's so freaking on the nose.
Named Shadowbringer. You can be the Shadowbringer. It's a 600 potency AoE with 2 charges, and you get 1 every minute. Not only that, but your Simulacrum also gets the Shadowbringer, so please enjoy. Dark Knight also got the tank spam attack rework. Delirium is no longer a 10-second duration, but will instead give you 3 stacks of Delirium, and you can spend these stacks on either Bloodspiller or Quietus. Reason it's 3 instead of 5 now is because it's a minute cooldown, down from 90 seconds. Salted Earth is no longer a ground-targeted AoE, but an AoE immediately around you. This required an animation change, of course, where you punch the ground, and this is very important.
You know, he's not wrong, okay? It is very important that you punch the ground. That looks pretty sick. I like it, actually. The Shadowbringer spell effect looks sick, okay? They're getting the stack rework instead of the timed rework. Overall, I'm liking the stack instead of window where you mash a million buttons and try to spam your attacks thing. Like, that to me is just a great change overall. I think we're going to see that across multiple jobs here. We already have Paladin, Dark Knight. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, obviously, punching the ground, super important.
Down from 90 seconds. Salted Earth is no longer a ground-targeted AoE, but an AoE...
That is the most, like, Sith-looking move that I've seen in this entire game. Like, doesn't that look like some freaking evil Jedi shit? Like some Sith stuff? It looks dope.
immediately around you. This required an animation change, of course, where you punch
Makes
the
me think of
ground.
the Death
This
Star.
is very important. Not only that, but after you use it, it changes into its combo action. Salt and Darkness. Yes, Dark Knight is very salty and edgy. Salt of Darkness will make your Salted Earth pulse for a 500 potency attack, whole bunch of salt. Now, since the other tanks stole Dark Knight's homework when, they all copied the Blackest Night, Dark Knight has 2 of them instead. The new one is called Ablation. It's got 2 charges and can be cast on yourself or a party member for a 10% damage mitigation. And actually, your Simulacrum also gets a new buff. All of its potencies are increased by 300, so you could say it's stronger than you. Here's a nice little thing. When you unmend, it'll knock 5 seconds off of your plunge cooldown. Please do not spam unmend in order to get unlimited plunges.
Wait. Did they give plunges charges like they did for the... He didn't say anything about plunges getting charged. I'm not a fan right now. Not a fan.
Because you can doesn't mean that you should. And that about does it for Dark Knight. I hope you enjoy. Go have fun throwing salt every...
Okay, so I mean that was cool. I think it's about on par with Paladin for me. I mean Paladin came up to Dark Knight, you know what I'm saying? And Dark Knight it didn't go too far, right? So I think I'm on board with either one of them. I happen to have Dark Knight at a higher level, so I'd probably just go with that, at this point. But yeah. Paladin came way up. Dark Knight came a little bit up. I mean, the new Salted Earth or whatever the heck it's called. That stuff looks pretty good. All right, let's check out Gunbreaker. This is the one that I don't know if I'm the most excited about it, but it's the one that I feel like I want to do as a tank. So I'm hoping that the stuff here looks cool and doesn't disappoint me. But I also feel like, hey, we got Paladin, we got Dark Knight. They both look pretty cool. So worst comes to worst, I'll play one of those. All right, let's check it out. Gunbreaker.
The arch enemy of Benediction. It was released in Shadowbringers, and it was an insta-hit. But how will it fare in Endwalker? Well, for starters, the job gear looks like Squall, and that's already winning in my book.
Yeah.
But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out
That's
this
what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that looks like Squall's outfit, just straight up.
That includes potencies especially. Since a lot of them change throughout all of the jobs, I would not worry about them. But anyway, let's take a look.
That's a sick gunblade too. Come on, be good.
First off, you've got 3 cartridges now.
Yep.
Bloodfest will fill up all 3, and there's a good reason for that. You have a 2 cartridge spender in that of...
Whoa, okay, so just to recap here, you've got 3 cartridges now instead of 2. We've had 2 this whole time, right? And he's saying there's a 2 cartridge spender. That's something we have not had before, so I'm interested to see what this is all about.
Cartridge spender in that of Double Down, a 1200 potency AoE. It's on a 1-minute cooldown, so you bet...
1200 potency AoE, hell yeah. It looks sick too.
Good reason for that. You have a 2 cartridge spender in that of Double Down, a 1200 potency AoE. It's on a 1-minute cooldown, so you better make sure you have 2 cartridges saved up for it. Heart of Stone gets upgraded to Heart of Corundum, which adds a 15% damage mitigation for 4 seconds and a buff that will heal that person if their HP drops below 50% or the timer wears off. Pretty cool. Continuation has been continued. Whenever you use Burst Strike, you will become Ready to Blast, changing Continuation button into Hyper Velocity, a new attack, OTCD. Speaking about Continuation and the Gnashing Fane combo, Gnashing Fane is now an all-in-one button. It will change into Savage Claw and Wicked Talon as you go through the combo.
That's a huge quality of life change. Because honestly, it was super annoying to have 3 buttons, but like you never use those abilities. You always use them in order every time. So like having to put those 3 abilities on your bar, like this is just a really nice quality of life adjustment.
And use continuations. Very nice for freeing up space on your hotbar. Also, Aurora now has charges. You can hold 2 of them. And actually, believe it or not, that's it. Gunbreaker was already built like... It will change into Savage Claw and Wicked Talon as you go through the combo and use continuations. Very nice for freeing up space on your hotbar. Also, Aurora now has...
Nice! Hell yeah.
It's
Okay.
charges. You could hold 2 of them. And actually, believe it or not, that's it. Gunbreaker was already built like a tank, and it didn't need any more changes. It feels buttery smooth, and that's a good thing. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, so yeah, so not a whole lot changed for Gunbreaker. It looks like it's the tank that got the least changes, which makes sense because it's the tank that came out with Shadowbringers. It's the most recent, right? So looking at the 4 tanks here, right, and I'm just saying amongst the tanks, right now, Warrior definitely bottom of the barrel for me. It just doesn't have anything that I think is super interesting or engaging in the mechanics. Don't get me wrong, it is straight up beastly, right? It is sick to do all that AoE and heal yourself. It feels really good to play, right? But I'm looking for something that has a little bit more kind of going on, I feel like. In terms of, I don't want to say that it's not complex, but I'm looking for something where there's just a little more going on. So Paladin, Dark Knight, and Gunbreaker are kind of the ones that I'm looking at. And I have Dark Knight and Gunbreaker up at a fairly high level. So it's probably going to end up being one of those unless I decide to boost a Paladin for some reason, which I'm probably not going to do right out the gate. So I'm thinking that, you know, it's going to be Dark Knight or it's going to be Gunbreaker. And I think Dark Knight is a lot of fun. I think Dark Knight is definitely cool. It's got some cool looking moves there, but even after seeing all this and seeing that Gunbreaker is not getting that many changes, I think my tank pick for Endwalker right now is Gunbreaker. And I've had some really good moments in dungeons where I've literally been able to just survive by smartly utilizing the kit of the Gunbreaker and just like self-healing and doing damage and stuff, and like those moments felt really cool. They felt really good. It felt like going back to like old school WoW and just like I'm still alive somehow. And I really, really enjoyed that. And even though it does look like Dark Knight maybe doesn't have as much in the way of the healing and shielding. It looks like Paladin and Warrior got more of that. Paladin got a lot of that. So I think Paladin would be closer to that same sort of feeling of Gunbreaker. But since I have Gunbreaker higher, I'm thinking, yeah, my tank pick for Endwalker, as of right now, Gunbreaker. Follow up, Dark Knight, Paladin. Bottom of the barrel, Warrior. Okay, so that is the tanks. So where do we go from here? Do we go straight to healers? I think we kind of leave. I think we leave healers. So we have a new healer and we have a new melee DPS. So let's jump in and take a look at the Magic DPS and the range DPS, and we'll save the new stuff for a little bit later on. So yeah, right now we got Gunbreaker. If we're going for, let's see, we have a tank, range DPS, magic DPS, healer, and melee DPS. So we got 5 categories. We'll pull the top 5 from those, and then we'll see if we can narrow it down from there. Let's go for the magic DPS. I feel like this one's going to be easy, but that's because I have watched one of these videos, and it's the one about the summoner. And it's going to be hard for something to beat Summoner for me because I already like it, and it looks like it's getting better. So let's see. For Magic DPS, what do we have? We have Black Mage. We've got Summoner. Wait, we need to do these in order of interest. So what do we have? We have Black Mage, Summoner, and Red Mage, right? Just the 3? I'm going to need to... This is going to drive... Let's go to Final Fantasy 14. Let's go. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not screwing this up. Oh, I hate this website. I hate it. And I typed an extra S in there. Go me. Okay. All right, so we've got our... Red Mage, ranged magical DPS, along with our Black Mage and our Summoner. Okay, so for me, I think the order here is going to be Black Mage, Red Mage, and then Summoner. So let's jump in and check these out. I know almost nothing about Black Mage. It's the class that I have the least interest in playing, and I don't think I've barely played any of it. So it's probably not going to convince me.
Black Mage is...
But let's check it out. Let's see if they got some cool spell effects and stuff. Maybe I'll get hype. I don't know.
power overwhelming. What did it get in Endwalker? Even more power. Man, it must be good to be the main job of the game's producer-director because Black Mage just keeps getting better and better. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try...
Alright, let's check it out.
First things first, Enochian is no longer a separate action, but a trait that activates as long as you're in Umbral Ice or Astral Fire. Not only that, but it gets increased to be a permanent 20% damage buff. You have Raging Strikes always. You can never be separated from your dear Eno-chan again. Never again will you be apart. Mana Font also gets reduced to a...
Okay, I said I don't know a lot about Black Mage, but conceptually I know what goes on with the Black Mage, enough to know that that's a big deal. Okay? Doesn't mean much of anything to me, though, unfortunately.
2-minute cooldown, and you can have 2 charges of Sharp Cast for even more procs. And do you like Foul and Xenoglossy? Yeah, you do. Well, here's some more. Amplifier is an ability on a 2-minute cooldown that gives you a free Polyglot stack. Hello, Xenoglossy in the opener. And then also at level...
Yeah, this is basically Chinese to me.
Level 80, Foul becomes instant cast. But let's talk about the most important change, shall we? Paradox. You get Paradox whenever you switch.
Okay, I did hear about this. This is like a replacement for the top tier spell, or it's an additional top tier spell for Black Mage.
Switch from Astral Fire 3 to Umbral Ice. Or conversely, when you switch from Umbral Ice 3 with 3 Umbral Hearts into Astral Fire. Once you have it, Paradox is used instead of Fire 1 to extend your stance timer. It's also 510 potency, so you know there's that. This is the main change to your single target rotation and will encourage the use of Blizzard 4 for all you greedy speed demons out there. The rotation that changed the most actually is the AoE rotation. It got super souped up. Fire 2 is upgraded to High Fire 2 and Blizzard 2 is upgraded to High Blizzard 2. Yeah, that's right. I said the words Blizzard 2 in 2021. It's a targeted AoE now, and you actually use it. High Fire 2 and High Blizzard 2 are both AoEs that will grant you Astral Fire 3 or Umbral Ice 3. So you'll be using those to change your stance in AoE. Now, High Fire 2 will also give you Enhanced Flare, as long as you cast it while you're already in Astral Fire. And that will increase the potency of the next flare that you cast. Freeze is still in here, so don't worry. It doesn't grant you Umbral Ice 3 anymore, but it does give you 3 Umbral Hearts. So it's kind of like the Blizzard 4 for AoE.
I got nothing.
I'm sure you will end up using that to get multiple flares off. But hey, I didn't have a calculator at the media tour, so I don't really make the rules here. And that's Black Mage. They somehow...
Yeah, so like I said, I know basically nothing about Black Mage. Like I have all those terms sounded familiar. If I had to, if guns to my head, I could probably explain the general rotation of Black Mage. That all sounded like Chinese to me. Ain't no way in hell I'm playing a Black Mage, except I'm gonna have to play it to get good enough with it, to learn enough about it to make a guide for it eventually. But it is definitely last on the list. So I'm sorry if you're a Black Mage main and you're looking for a guide from me, but it's going to be a while, okay? Oh, man. Well, let's get into Red Mage, which I know way more about. I know way more about these next jobs and every job that's going to come than I do about Black Mage.
Red Mage got very cool new toys. Also, hey, I'm Melian over here. Anyway, this is its new job gear, in the perfect shade of red. Ver. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to...
You know, the job gear for Red Mage has looked a lot worse in the past. I mean, I'll take it. Okay, what do we got?
Red Mage's core rotation remains the same, but with some upgrades and a couple additions.
Okay, so general rotation for Red Mage is that you're going to be casting these like small quick spells in order to get instant cast of your bigger spells, and then also you're going to be casting your spells in order to get better payouts for your melee abilities. That's like a easy summary, I guess. And along the way, you're trying to balance your black and white magic.
Along with some quality of life upgrades. It got a new barrier ability that reduces everybody's damage taken by 10% while increasing healing actions by 5%. It's
okay, that's cool. It's on a 2-minute cooldown, so not something you're going to use like you know, it's not part of your rotation. And you do have healing skills as a red mage, so you can take advantage of it even if other people don't.
Aptly named Magic Barrier. Verarrow and Verthunder were upgraded to Verarrow and Verthunder 3, which came along with some beefy new animations and increased potencies. And I didn't think
roll it back.
Well,
I wasn't looking at the. I like this animation for Magic Barrier. I wasn't looking at the animations. I was looking at the tooltips.
Increasing healing actions
for these
by 5%. It's aptly named Magic Barrier. Verarrow and Verthunder were upgraded to Verarrow.
Okay, yeah, those are sick. I like that was like a wind tornado, pretty disgusting. And then I like all those like runes that just shot thunder in. That was disgusting looking, actually. Look at this.
5%. It's aptly named Magic Barrier. Verarrow and
look at that tornado, and then boom, boom, boom.
Verarrow and Verthunder.
Yeah, that's
3,
sick.
Which came along
I
with
like
some
it.
beefy new animations and increased potencies.
Yeah.
And I didn't think the Mad Lads would do it. But
Oh,
we got a third.
what the? Whoa, what was that? I don't know if that was like a skill that they already have, or a new one, because my red mage isn't that high. But that was sick looking.
New animations and increased potencies. And I didn't think the Mad Lads would do it, but we got a third finisher after Scorch. So Red Mage's finisher is now Verholy or Verflare, followed by Scorch, and then a 750 potency Resolution. And yeah, that's right. Verholy, Verflare, and Scorch all got new animations because they're all AoEs now. Manification will now give you 50 black and white mana instead of doubling it. This means that you can start a fight with the melee combo immediately. It also grants you 6
that's actually really nice.
That's
actually really nice. Okay, being able to start with the melee combo is really nice change.
It also grants you 6 manification stacks that are instead expended on each GCD that you use during it. So it's just enough to do your 3 melee combo and your 3-part spell finisher. And the melee combo was overall reduced in cost. You only need 50-50 in order to execute.
Oh my goodness, good. That was so annoying trying to get up. I like the cost reduction. That's very nice.
And this leads to some jolly good fun where you can start with a 100-100 and Manification ready, and you can do 3 melee combos in a row without needing to cast any other spell whatsoever. Yeah, I'm sure
that
all of your melee
finisher
raid members
is so
will love
sick
that.
with the rose vines.
And after it, you only have to do like 2 or 3 more spells to do another one. I mentioned some quality of life. Displacement and engagement are now the same potency. This will not stop me from backflipping off of the edge. Style points are important after all. They also have 2 charges, which presents even more opportunity for said backflipping. Enchanted Reprise was buffed a bit, so that should help a bit in the times where you absolutely need to move for extended periods of time. And Acceleration now has 2 charges. That means even more guaranteed procs and even more melee combos. Woo! And last but not least, we've been asking for this since Red Mage's inception, but Embolden will now increase everybody's overall damage dealt instead of just physical. This is very good. And that's everything about Red Mage. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh, with the puns. I love it. Yeah, this looks awesome, actually. This looks like it addresses a lot of the issues that I had with Red Mage. Like, overall, I do think Red Mage is a fun job to play, but some of the hangups for me were the things like the cost of the melee abilities. I like that we can go straight into a melee combo here. Those finishers look sick. The new Verthunder and Verarrow look like amazing. Like, yeah, this went way up, actually. I was not expecting this. I was expecting that, honestly, Summoner was just going to take the cake and walk out of here, but Red Mage is pretty sick. Summoner's probably still taking the cake, but Red Mage is really up there now, and I was not expecting that. Like, it really wasn't. So, I mean, good job, Red Mage. Hamo, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to comment as much as you guys want in the chat. I am going to be checking the chat. You know, we're just getting hyped about these changes here. So Red Mage looking really good. Obviously, Black Mage is dumpster fire tier for me on a personal level. But Red Mage it's up there. I'm going to rewatch this Summoner video because this is the one video I have watched already. It's probably still going to win. Okay, so yeah, so you guys have seen me play Summoner on stream before. So the main classes that I've played on stream a lot, Samurai, Gunbreaker, Summoner, and Scholar have been the ones that I've run a lot of dungeons and stuff with. I've played some of the other ones in Palace of the Dead, but Summoner is one of the ones that I've been playing a lot. I've been doing a lot of world questing and stuff, so I have played this one. I think maybe on both channels, maybe not. I think this channel I've mostly been playing Samurai, so let's check it out.
Summoner. Yes, good old Summoner. No longer a dot or ruin mage with summons on the side, but actual summons. Now,
okay, so this is a big thing with Summoner. They took away all of the like damage over time stuff, or the most of the damage over time stuff, which I don't like, because I liked the damage over time stuff, but I like what they replaced it with so much that I don't think it matters. So we'll see.
not only that, but the new job gear is perfect. I mean, just
it is pretty sick.
Look at that Summoner dome.
I like the flask hanging off the side. I like the color of those flasks.
A lot that has changed. I mean, it's a complete rework, but let's go over it.
Actually, yeah, just in general, this job attire looks sick.
I think you're gonna like it. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was faster in beefy now. First, let's go over Summoner's non-summon abilities. For single target, you have Ruin 3, which is much faster in beefy now, and Try Disaster for AoE. Energy Drain and Energy...
So you've got, like, you've still got your basic kind of, like, just direct damage stuff going on here, and you're still getting your Aether Flow stacks in order to spend them on things like Energy Drain and Energy Siphon, which drains the single target, energies the multi-target, but they've just pulled out the whole, what was it? I forget what it was called, bio or plague or whatever, the damage over time.
Siphon still give you 2 stacks of Aether Flow, which you could spend on Fester or Pain Flare. This also gives you 1 Ruin 4, which you can use, which is now an instant AoE, and big. And that's it. Everything else...
Yeah, that was sick.
You're going to be doing is summoning. Summoner has 2 different kinds of summons. The demi summons, like Bahamut and Phoenix, and then the new elemental summons, like...
Need to take some time to make some time to start playing. Been busy with a new job. Hey, same here. Been busy with a new position, and all I've really had the brain energy for is like Cookie Run Kingdom, honestly, and stuff like that. Just like brainless auto play games that are still fun, but don't require me to sit down and like focus. So as we get into the Summoner here, like I said, this is the one video that I have already watched out of all of them, and I wanted to say, as we get into this, that what Summoner, the new Summoner, in a weird way, kind of reminds me of Druid. If like Druid kind of specialized a little bit in all the different forms. So see if you get that vibe from this, because, you know, if you go bear, like I'm talking about World of Warcraft Druid. If you go bear in World of Warcraft on the Druid, you get kind of tanky and you got certain abilities. You go cat, you got different ones. So, like, check this out, and I kind of feel like the summons are like different forms, like in a basic way. See if you get that from this.
Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan. Bahamut and Phoenix will recharge your ability to summon the 3 elemental summons. And the overall rotation is going to be a loop of Bahamut to the 3 primals and Phoenix to the 3 primals. And whenever a summon is out, it replaces the spells on your bar. There are 3 new spells.
That is part of the thing right there. When a summon comes out, it replaces the spells on your bar. It changes them to do something specific, and each of these summons has a different theme, as you're going to see here. So that's what makes me think it feels kind of like Druid.
And whenever a summon is out, it replaces the spells on your bar. There are 3 new spells which are used solely for your summon's abilities. Astral Flow is for special abilities for every summon. Gem Shine is for single target, and Precious Brilliance is for AoE. These ones are used only for the elemental summons and have a certain amount of charges depending on which summon you have.
So, regardless of which summon comes out, you're going to have a special ability, a single target, and an AoE.
And the demi summons will replace Ruin 3, Try Disaster, Astral Flow, and Enkindle. During Bahamut, you have Astral Impulse for an instant single target, and Astral Flare for instant AoE. You also get 1 Death Flare and 2 Akmorns. Oh yeah, and he does all of his auto attacks on his own. You don't have to activate them. And
which
he
is
doesn't
nice.
Follow you around like a lost puppy anymore. He will stay still. Each summon is a big with 2 Gs AoE.
That job gauge looks amazing. It looks fucking amazing. And this is something important he's about to say here too.
He will stay still. Each summon does a big with 2G's AoE ability when it comes out. So Ifrit's abilities are high potency cast times and a gap closer melee combo. You have 2 charges available to
high potency cast times. Okay, so long cast time, high potency when you pull out Ifrit.
And a gap closer melee combo. You have 2 charges available.
That sounds so fucking sick to me. Like, listen to this.
Each summon does a big with 2G's AoE ability when it comes out. So Ifrit's abilities are high potency cast times and a gap closer melee combo.
A gap closer melee combo. This looks so damn sick. Like,
Ifrit's abilities are high potency cast
like you'll
times
see
and
the
a gap
jump.
closer melee combo. You have 2 charges available to use on either Ruby Right single target or Ruby Catastrophe AoE. Then you have Crimson Cyclone to dash into the boss, which combos into Crimson Strike. Both of those are instant AoE.
Like, look at that. So you've it makes me think of the mage in Guild Wars 2. Like, has an ability kind of like this, and I fucking loved it. And this it looks so cool because you like dive in and then it turns into that combo where you do that like flame slam. I'm like, hell yeah, that looks so dope.
Which combos into Crimson Strike.
Look at this, look at this.
AoE. Then you have Crimson Cyclone to dash into the boss, which combos into
and then
Crimson
the slam.
Strike. Both of those are instant AoEs. Then Titan's abilities are about weaving medium potency.
Okay, so we're moving. So that was Ifrit, high potency, high cast time, gap closing on the melee. We're moving into Titan now.
Titan's abilities are about weaving medium potency instant spells with off globals. You have 4 charges available for Topaz Right, a single target instant, or Topaz Catastrophe, an AoE instant. And after each one of those, you're able to weave in Mountain Buster between them, and then you do a little clap. Clap, clap, clap. Garuda's abilities are each one of those.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, so it sounds like it's going to be more hits with Titan, but they're going to be smaller hits. So if you look at it, so we're going to summon Titan. He's going to do the AoE. Then you have Topaz Right, which is an instant cast, but does have a cooldown, right? But like he said, in between that, you're going to weave in Mountain Buster. So you may do like Topaz Right, Mountain Buster, Topaz Right, Mountain Buster, and you go back and forth between those in order to get that that damage out. It also says, yeah, there's something about Titan's favor here. But anyway.
Each one of those you're able to
kind of like a well-balanced summon to bring out.
Weave in Mountain Buster between them, and then you do a little clap. Clap, clap, clap. Garuda's abilities are lower potency, but gotta go fast. Super quick instant spells. Along with a casted floor AoE. That's right, we kinda have Shadow Flare. You have 4 charges available to use on Emerald Right for single target, or Emerald Catastrophe for AoE. Then you have Slipstream to hardcast, which leaves an AoE on the ground, so make sure the boss isn't gonna move out of it. And finally, you have
okay, so like they said there with Garuda, lower power but faster abilities. So lots of hits, lots of different things that you can do. Plus this floor casted AoE that everything will stand in. Like, again, like you get the different themes, right? Slow and heavy hitting with some melee. You got the kind of in the middle, and then you got the swift strike kind of stuff going on with Garuda.
Phoenix to finish it all off. Phoenix will also do its auto attacks automatically and still has the AoE regen. You have Fountain of Fire for instant single target and Brand of Purgatory for instant AoE. It's no longer a 1-2 combo. There's also 2 revelations just like before, and there's a new ability called Rekindle. It's a 200 potency cure on any target, and it grants the Rekindle status. When that person's HP falls below 50%, or if the timer wears off, it'll trigger Rekindle and give them a 200 potency regen. Such flavor. Besides those, you'll
It's so cool. Like you get an extra little like heal in there.
also have 2 carbuncle abilities, because we couldn't forget about you, little guy. Radiant Aegis is a 20% HP shield on yourself and has 2 charges. This is very good because I die a lot. And Devotion has become Searing Light, a 3% damage buff to everybody, but for 30 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. And that's it. I think I got it all. Also, there's a funny little tidbit. When you're below level 90, you summon Ifrit Garuda in A.
So yeah, Summoner looks absolutely insane. It looks so good to me. Like I like it as it is right now, but I will admit that it doesn't really feel like you're summoning stuff all the time. It feels like you do some... It honestly feels more like you're doing direct damage and damage over time than feeling like you're summoning. This looks like you're summoning and you're like harnessing the power of your the Titans and stuff. It looks insane. This is an easy win. I knew, like I said, Red Mage was pretty up there. It looked pretty good. It does look pretty good, but I was right. Summoner, like watching it again, it was just like, nah, there's no comparison. So we got Gunbreaker for tank, we got Summoner, easy win for top Magic DPS for me for Endwalker. Like just easy. So let's check out the ranged DPS. And again, we're going to do this where I'm going to kind of like check out the one I'm the least interested in first and then move on from there. We should have, what, 3 of them, I think. We've got Dancer, we've got Machinist, and we've got Bard, right? Those are the 3 that we have. So I'm the least interested in Machinist, then Bard, and I'm actually the most interested in Dancer. So let's see if any of these videos can change my mind.
Machinist got the special treatment rework in Shadowbringers, so it was already in a really great spot.
Okay, so that sounds like basically the way Machinist plays now, it's not going to change very much, which means I'm probably not going to be all that much more interested in it. And to be clear, the only class or job or whatever that I'm not like interested in to some degree is Black Mage, and I imagine that once I play Black Mage it'll be like interesting. It's just like right now it's the only one that's kind of like, it's kind of like Priest in World of Warcraft for me. I was never interested in Priest. So let's see if, you know, maybe some cool animations or something like that will make the difference.
Walker, they expanded on what already worked, so it just feels even better. And the new job gear, well, it looks like a Machinist to me. You even got a little utility belt, so you don't have to ask anybody where your wrench went.
I do like the gun too.
But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try and not worry about them.
Wow, this is like a 2-minute video. There's like nothing in here.
But anyway, let's take a look.
It's already halfway over.
So firstly, your spread shot now becomes scatter gun, which is basically just a shotgun. Congratulations on your new shotgun. Then there's chainsaw. It's a 550 potency.
That's cool.
Line AoE on about a minute cooldown. You get to use this whenever it's up, just like drill and air anchor. This also gives you 20 battery gauge, so you know what that means. More queens. She's running on Energizer batteries now. Reassemble also has 2 charges now. So in regards to buffing either drill or air anchor, I offer you this. Why not both? The Queen also gets a new finisher called Crowned Collider, a truly marvelous name, fitting of a queen. It's a big potency finisher. What more could you ask for? Tactician was reduced to a 90-second cooldown in line with the other range, so that's pretty neato. And that is it for Machinist. It really didn't need much changes after the Shadowbringers.
Okay. Yeah, so that didn't do anything. It's probably still in last place for me, but we'll see. That was like 60 seconds of changes. I wonder if this is going to be the least changed class of all, like out of all of them. We'll see. Let's go to Bard.
Oh, Bard. The original.
Why does Bard's outfits always look so stupid? It makes me sad. Oh, what a dorky costume.
Ranged job. The old guy who walked uphill both ways through Foe's Requiem and Cast Times has made it all the way to Endwalker. And despite everything...
If I'm yawning, it's all good. I'm still mentally here. I'm just physically tired because I haven't slept. And that's why I moved the stream up.
It's still Bard. You could also say it's the only dot-based job now. So if you missed the dots from Summoner for some reason, Bard will welcome you with open arms. I'm sure of that. But first,
Which Bard was a pretty dot-heavy job anyway, and I kind of like that.
I would not worry about them. But anyway, let's take a look.
All right, let's go.
First of all, song duration is now 45 seconds instead of 30, and they have a 2-minute cooldown. Also, your dots are now 45 seconds instead of 30. This means you'll be staying in each song a bit longer than before. And Bard has a new damage utility. When you get through each of your 3 songs, you earn a coda sticker for each one. And when you get all 3, you can execute Radiant Finale for its full effect, a 5% damage buff for everybody for 15 seconds.
That is weirdly kind of like getting all 3 of the seals in Samurai. It's obviously going to take a lot longer, right? Because in Samurai, you do have to rotate through 3 abilities to get a seal, then 3, and then 2. But, you know, you could do that within probably the span of time that it takes to do 1 song as a bard. So it's cool, though, that they're adding on a little bit extra there for that. And it also kind of encourages you to go through all the songs.
We may not have Foe's Requiem anymore, but this'll do. Bloodletter now has 2 charges. This is great. It means you won't accidentally overwrite Bloodletter procs anymore. This is something that even back in A Realm Reborn we would have wanted. Not only that, but Raging Strikes is now on a minute cooldown. But as a trade-off, Barrage is now a 2-minute cooldown. Oh yeah, and Battle Voice is also a 2-minute cooldown. Yeah, everything is gonna line up so much better on Bard. Your Quick Knock AoE is upgraded to Ladon's Bite, and it looks pretty spiffy if I do say so myself. And you have a new finisher. If you use Apex Arrow after your Soul Voice gauge is 80 or higher, you get access to Blast Arrow.
That's sick.
500 potency line AoE. And here's a quality of life upgrade. When you proc Straight Shot Ready, it'll last for 30 seconds instead of 10 now. And like the other range, Troubadour is now 90 seconds. And that is everything for Bard. Honestly, it's actually looking pretty great. The whole kit seems to synergize much better with itself. So be strong, last
Yeah, it sounds like, you know, basically what he said, like nothing too crazy got added to it, but it's got a lot of quality of life that will make the rotation feel a lot smoother and just make the class play better or make the job play better. Again, not really doing anything for me. So it's not looking good for the ranged classes right now. I feel like unless Dancer comes through with some hotness, it's not going to be a contender for main for Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, like, at all. But I do like Dancer, so let's see.
Dancer was the new job in Shadowbringers, and it's
Oh, no, it was the new job in Shadowbringers, so there's probably not going to be, like, much of anything that's changing in Endwalker, right? Darn. It and Gunbreaker
solidified itself as the core element to the Protect the President strategy, otherwise known as Buff the Samurai. In Endwalker, Dancer got some new tools to help it
not gonna lie, I got buffed quite a bit, so
do just that, along with some healing utility. This is its new job gear, by the way. I particularly think the bow in my hair makes me look extra fancy. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square.
Alright, what do we got?
Firstly,
Sexy
there was
bunny
a quality
lady.
of life change to the AoE actions. When you're dancing, the AoE actions will also turn into steps. This will ensure that you could do steps even if you're currently on your AoE.
Oh, cool.
Also, your GCD procs changed a bit. The single target combo used to only proc your single target attacks, and likewise for AoE, but now they will proc both. You can only use one or the other of.
Okay, that's actually really nice. It might not seem like it, and I'm not going to go into the rotation for Dancer because it's so damn weird, but it's going to be less weird now because you can proc both single target and AoE with either or. Like, it's a good change, like, for sure.
Course, but it provides an on-ramp to quickly switch between your single target or AoE, which is pretty neat. There's also a new way of generating Esprit. Whenever you use your proc stuff like Reverse Cascade, Fountain Fall, Rising Windmill, or Blade Shower, you get 10 Esprit. And you've got a new combo action after executing Technical Finish called Tilana. It's a 360 potency AoE, and it also grants Standard Finish and Esprit to you and your dance partner. There's a new fan dance called Fan Dance 4, which is really just a cool bird AoE, and it's a 300 potency cone.
Yeah, that's pretty sick looking, actually.
That can only be executed by using Flourish. so once a minute. Flourish also changed a bit since of the way the procs work now. When you use up your single target procs, it'll eat up the AoE ones as well. You can't use both. And then after Devilment, there's a combo action called Starfall Dance, which I never actually used here because I'm a big old dummy. But this is what it looks like. It's a 600 potency, guaranteed crit direct hit in a line AoE. You can only use that once every 2 minutes, but that's big. Shield Samba also got reduced to a 90-second cooldown to be in line with Machinist and Bard. Now, improvisation changed a lot. It will now give you a stack called Rising Rhythm every 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 4 stacks. And
that is a lot of Discord going off. Like, seriously? Is there a comment about this? Discord sounds... Okay, yeah, it's not just me. That is driving me nuts.
And you also give everybody an AoE regen. You can stop using improvisation with improvised finish, and it'll consume your Rising Rhythm stacks to create a shield on everybody. The shield goes up to a 10% of max HP if you were at
I like
4
that. We got some shielding.
Interestingly, you'll also get the regen as soon as you activate improvisation, so you could even just flicker it on and off just to get the regen if that's all you wanted. And yep, that is everything for Dancer. Thank you so much for watching and all of my videos.
Yeah, honestly, like, range was kind of boring. It looks like, I mean, but that means like they're all in fairly good spots. And that means that honestly, the order I have them in probably isn't going to change. So Dancer is still my most, excited, ranged damage dealer for Endwalker, I guess. Like, that was a sentence. That was a, I haven't had enough sleep sentence. Dancer is still the ranged DPS job that I'm most excited for Endwalker, but currently I would definitely rather play Summoner or Gunbreaker. So even though we're going to put Dancer in there in the top 5 because it's the number 1 for one of the categories, it's at least number 3, if probably number 5. We'll see. So yeah. Okay, so now we've got healers and we got melee DPS, okay? So healers have a brand new job, the Sage, and melee DPS has a brand new job, the Reaper. So we've got new classes for both of these. I think we're going to do healer first because as far as I know it, half the healers I'm not really interested in, but we'll see. So we've got Astrologian, White Mage, Scholar, and Sage. I'm going to put Sage at the end because it's the new one and I have no idea where it would go on this list. And I kind of want to see like how hype we get for some of the other ones first. So honestly, between Astrologian and White Mage, I don't know which one I'm more interested in. Like, I think I would be interested in Astrologian if the card mechanics were changed. So I'm going to gamble and say that maybe they did change a little bit. We're going to put White Mage at the bottom, then Astrologian, then we're going to go Scholar because I do like Scholar currently. I actually really enjoy the healing playstyle of Scholar in Shadowbringers, even though from what I've heard, like I guess a lot of people don't really like it or think it's in a bad place, but is what it is, I guess. And then we'll take a look at Sage. So let's jump in and see what's changed with White Mage.
White Mage. Classic White Mage. It's that friend
that is a weird outfit
that you can always rely on to be there for you.
All right, let's check it out.
For DPS, you've got Glare 3 now. Yeah, Glare got super buffed because apparently it just skipped right past 2 and on to 3. And then for your dot, you still have Dia. Not only that, but
pretty
Holy
fast
also
cast.
Jumps straight from 2 to Holy 3. And this is Holy
That's
3.
Cool.
It's very shiny. You've got a new ability called Aqua Veil. Fluid Aura is gone and deleted, but it has a spiritual upgrade to Aqua Veil. It's a 15% damage mitigation that goes on you or a party member and lasts for 8 seconds. This is
I'm liking the spell effects, honestly, for White Mage here. Like, they're pretty cool so far. I like the Aqua, like, sort of, you know, it's damage mitigation, but, you know, it kind of looks like a shield in the animation.
pretty cool because you can give it to a tank as an extra cooldown when they forget to pop one of their own, you know, for a tank buster. The level 90 skill is called Lily Bell. You place a healing blossom at a targeted location for 15 seconds, and you get 5 stacks called Lily Bell applied to yourself. Anytime that you are dealt damage, 1 Lily Bell stack will be consumed by the healing blossom to do a 400 potency AoE around it. And then if for some reason by the end of the time...
That's actually kind of cool. Huh, that's weird. I mean, you do take damage, so it will trigger. It's not a matter of one of those things where, like, you shouldn't take damage, so this is just a bad skill. No, you'll take damage. That's kind of cool. So I'm assuming, like, you don't have to be in the range of it. It didn't sound like it. Like, you could drop it on the tank, and then when you take damage, it'll pulse out of AoE. That's pretty cool.
Timer, there are still Lily Bell stacks remaining. It'll eat up the rest of them to do a 200 potency AoE for each remaining stack.
Yeah, that's cool.
Particularly good for raid AoE mechanics that fire off a bunch of consecutive AoEs. Then there's a pretty significant change to Thin Air. It used to make all of your spells free for 12 seconds and on a 2-minute cooldown. Well, now it's a 1-minute cooldown with 2 charges, but it will only affect the next spell that you cast. So if you have 2 charges, that means 2 free raises guaranteed. And then speaking of charges, Divine Benison now has 2 as well, which means you could put Divine Benison on both of the tanks for shared tank busters, you know, because they both forgot to pop a cooldown. And that should do it for White Mage. Those are all the changes. Thank you so much.
Honestly, like, looks pretty solid to me. Doesn't beat out, like, I would still play Shadowbringer's version of Scholar over this for sure. But I don't know what's changed with Scholar yet. But overall, like, I think kind of what made it for me is some of the spell animations just look pretty good. And then also that Lily thing that we were looking at there. I forget what the name of it was.
Mechanics that
what was it called? Lily Bell. That's right. Yeah. That looks pretty cool. All right, let's see if Astrologian got changes that matter.
Astrologian is now classified as a pure healer along with White Mage, you know, as opposed to the shield healers, Scholar, and Sage. As such, it has changed a ton, and I believe in very cool and interesting ways. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored.
Okay, so lots of changes. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that is true. It was gonna become a pure healer because Sage was moving in to be a shield healer. Okay, let's check it out.
Firstly, your DPS spells. Your spammable spell is called Fall Malefic, you know, since it went up to Malefic 5 and we can't have that. And your dot is still called Combust 3. And then Gravity was upgraded to Gravity 2, which is a super cool animation. I mean, look at it, but we're not here for...
I actually, like, on the animation, honestly. Like, out of a lot of the ones we've seen today, like, that one's kind of meh.
DPS, right? We're here for the healing. Let's go over the card changes, shall we? Draw now has 2 charges. Redraw is no longer 3 charges, but you can always use it for each card that you draw. 1 time. You can undraw still as well or play the card. Then there's Minor Arcana, which will draw either a Lord or a Lady. You don't lose your currently drawn card to do this. It is a separate mechanic altogether. It's on a 1-minute cooldown, and then you can play that card using a separate action called Crown Play. Lady is an AoE, and Lord is an AoE attack. I tried for like 10 minutes to draw a Lord and I never did, so this is what the Lord looks like. Since Astro is now considered a pure healer, Aspected Benefic and Aspected Helios will both apply the regen always. And then when you activate Neutral Sect, which is your special big heal mode, it will add an additional shield to those in addition to the 20% healing buff for 20 seconds. Celestial Intersection now has 2 charges and includes a shield boost. And Collective Unconsciousness is the 10% damage mitigation and a regen. The seal system works in a very different way too. Firstly, Divination no longer requires the seals.
Okay, this is kind of what I am wanting to see changes to, is the seal system. So the thing that I really didn't like about the seal system, which honestly they probably haven't changed, is the fact that you get the same buff no matter what. That's probably not changed, but we'll see.
It's a flat 6% damage buff to everybody for 15 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. It means you can use it in the opener right away. Instead, the seals are used on a new ability called Astrologian. It'll grant an effect depending on which seals it consumed, and you can get all 3 effects if you have all 3 seals. They are as follows. There's gradually restore your own MP, give a 10% haste buff essentially, or give a 5% damage buff. This is very interesting. I think I like this more than using it up on divination. Then you've got a new ability, Exaltation. It's a 10% damage.
Okay, so now that does sound more interesting.
Then you've got a new ability, Exaltation. It's a 10% damage mitigation on a target that will also do a 500 potency heal at the end of the 8-second duration. And you can do that once every minute. Very neat for tank busters. It feels like all of the healers got a special ability on a minute cooldown for tank busters. And finally, there's Macrocosmos. This one is super cool. It's a 250 potency AoE attack, but it also grants Macrocosmos to everybody for 15.
So it's Starfall, right? Yeah, it's basically Starfall.
Potency AoE attack, but it also grants Macrocosmos to everybody for 15 seconds. During this, half of all of the damage that is taken is compiled. And then when you activate it again, or when the timer runs out, it will heal up for that compiled damage. And it looks freaking cool. And yeah, that will do it for Astrologian. I would say it's like 50% new. So, you know, look.
Yeah, overall, I think the changes to Astrologian here don't make me any more. I'm more interested in White Mage, honestly. Like, this job has a lot going on, but it's a lot that I'm not interested in learning. So yeah, we'll see. Right now, I mean, White Mage would take the cake. Current Scholar and Shadowbringers would beat out White Mage, but let's see what the changes are and see if they're better, worse, or didn't really change at all. Probably tell based on the link for the video. Oh, we got 323. That's some.
Original shield healer. While everybody else is going to be playing with the shiny new Sage, you instead are going to be a dedicated scholar because you're educated and you have a book. But first, I have
all right, let's
Firstly,
go.
The DPS spells. You've got a new single target spam. It's called Broil 4. You still have Energy Drain. That'll use up your Aetherflow stacks, which is very important. And your dot is still Biolysis. Then there's a new AoE spell called Art of War 2. This is an instant cast spammable AoE. Scholar's GCD shields were super buffed. Adlo will now be a 180% shield, and Sucker is a 160% shield. Scholar is going to still be the big with 2Gs shield healer. And not only that, Deployment Tactics, the one that spreads your Adlo shield to everybody, is on a 90-second cooldown now. You're going to be able to utilize this for way more mechanics over the duration of a fight, so it's super good. Then there's a new instant heal called Protraction. It increases the maximum HP of a target by 10% and restores that amount. It also increases the healing actions on that target by 10%, and you can do this every minute. It's going to be so good for tank busters. And then there's the brand new toy that everybody's talking about, Expedient. This will give everybody sprint and a 10% damage mitigation for 20 seconds.
Whoa! What? What? I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But a 20-second sprint to everyone? Holy shit, that is good. That is so good. Like, I know it doesn't, like, sprint is huge for getting out of AoEs and out of mechanics and stuff like that. 20-second sprint? Damn. Ammo says, did you see the Yoshi P interview with Asmund and Rich? He has great game design philosophy and really understands what makes MMOs great. You can tell he's really engaged with the FF14 community. I didn't watch it. Like, I've seen it pop up. I haven't watched it. It's too long, and I haven't had the energy or time to watch it yet. Plus, I kind of figured that it would mostly be about just general design philosophy, and I've watched enough live streams and interviews with Yoshi P to just know the dude's like rock solid. So you know, for me, I was like, I probably don't need to watch it. I may watch it at some point, but it's mostly been just a matter of like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm already hyped for Endwalker. I don't really need like interviews to increase the hype. Like a lot of time that's what I do. I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. I'm like, nah, I'm just good. I'm just playing Endwalker. That's how it is. But 20-second sprint, holy shit.
This will give everybody sprint and a
2-minute cooldown. Okay, 2-minute cooldown. That's okay. That makes sense. But still. And it's a damage reduction for 20 seconds.
10% damage mitigation for 20 seconds. I know it's been a meme, but in all seriousness, this is a super unique ability, and there will likely be strats around utilizing this for movement. I mean, just look at Lucio. Everybody loves Lucio. A lot of the mechanics in our game is centered around movement. So if you have an ability that augments your movement, that automatically makes it powerful.
Yeah.
Fey Blessing no longer costs Fairy Gauge, which means the only thing that...
Oh my god, thank you, holy shit.
No longer costs Fairy Gauge, which means the only thing that your Fairy Gauge is going to be used for is Fey Union, otherwise known as Sage Mode, which actually brings up one of the differences between Scholar and Sage.
You still got to use it for Union.
The Fairy can heal either everybody, or it could switch over to a single targeted healing burst. Sage, on the other hand, can only do the single targeted healing with their Cardia. The Fairy is very powerful, and it's part of what makes Scholar a Scholar. And not to mention, the Fairy seemed much more responsive. I tested this out by alternating using the Fairy GCDs and seeing if it would immediately do it, and it seemed like it was. So time will tell on that, but we'll see what it feels like on live servers. And that will do it for Scholar. I'm really wondering what the healer meta is going to end up looking like for Endwalker, but let's not forget one important thing. People like doing damage, and Scholar increases the party's damage. What about that, huh? Thank you so much for watching, and all of my videos on the...
Look, I just like Scholar in general. I like the whole mechanic of getting the Aether Flow and spending it on the abilities and stuff. Like, I really, really like Scholar. It's one of my favorite healers in any MMO, period. So it's probably just going to be top of the line unless Sage looks absolutely insane. That's what we're going to get to. Pog, yes, Pog. That was, yeah, definitely a Pog moment. All right, let's check out Sage. So Sage is a shield healer that's going to use these crazy little machine things. I forget what they're called, but I'm sure he's going to mention it in order to heal. And yeah, let's check it out. Looks pretty cool, not going to lie.
Must be like one of those non-conflict nations in Gundam, you know, that secretly develop the most advanced Gundams, because Sage is a lot like that. This is Sage's job gear. I think it looks pretty snazzy. Reminds me of something Alphino would wear. And here's the sprint
100%.
animation. The way the new lists follow you around is so freaking cool. And I have a sneaking suspicion that we're gonna see a bunch of Sages running around in Endwalker. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square Enix to try out this development. Let's start with the most important thing about any healer. How to DPS. Sage's single target spell is called Dosis. It's a bunch of laser beams. Then there's also this special ability called Eucrasia that augments certain spells, and Dosis is one of them. So when you activate
Okay, what? Was that a basic ass ability that had that dope animation? It looks like it. He's got it on the bar in the main thing here.
Single target spell is called Dosis. It's a bunch of laser beams. Then there's also this special ability called Eucrasia that augments certain spells, and Dosis is one of them.
Instant cast, 1 second, augments. Okay.
So when you activate Eucrasia, Dosis changes into a dot that's instant cast and lasts 30 seconds. Then for
Eucrasian Dosis. Okay, so laser beams are the main attack, and then when you use this Eucrasia, then it turns into that crazy triangle thing. That's sick looking.
to a dot that's instant cast and lasts 30 seconds. Then for AoE damage, you've got a spammable Dyscrasia, which is a point-blank AoE around you. Then there's Phlegma, a 510 potency targeted instant AoE with 2 charges. Sage also has its own version of a size called Numa, a 330 potency line AoE that also heals everybody around you and reduces their damage taken by 10%.
Wait, around you or in the line? Because if it was in the beam, that would be cool. Restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members. Okay, so it is by you. Man, I actually like the healers where you have to aim spells. Like, I do. That's not here, but maybe they have something like that.
A 330 potency line AoE that also heals everybody around you and reduces their damage taken by 10% for 20 seconds. What the? And if that's not all, there's one more AoE called Toxicon.
Oh,
and that's
sick.
a Decepticon normally. Targeted instant AoE. This one costs a resource called Adder Sting, which you can hold up to 3 of. You get an Adder Sting from your single target shield being broken. More on that later. Now for Sage's heals. Actually, I kind of...
Okay, you get the resource for your single target shield being broken. Doesn't that just get more difficult as your character gets stronger because your shields get bigger and they're harder to break? Right?
Heals. Actually, I kind of also just said what the heals were since all of those DPS spells will heal also. You could put Cardia on a single target and all of your DPS spells will do a 170 potency heal to them automatically. You can even double this potency for 10 seconds with Soteria.
What? Okay, so you pick a target and then as you DPS, it just heals them. Okay.
But okay, I'll go over the actual healer spells if you must know. Sage's base single target heal is called Diagnosis, and its AoE heal is called Prognosis. Well, remember that ability Eucrasia for changing your DPS spell into a dot? Well, it works on these too. When you activate Eucrasia, Diagnosis and Prognosis will change into their shield versions and their instant cast. And the shield from Diagnosis is the one that will grant you an Adder Sting if it breaks. But what about shields that you put on people that aren't going to be used up? Well, you've got Pepsis for that. Pepsis. It will eat up the shields from Diagnosis and Prognosis and turn them into an instant heal. And you can do this.
Okay, so of course they've covered that, right? So you can basically eat your own shields.
Every 15 seconds. Actually, I haven't even talked about the gauge yet, have I? It has a gauge. It automatically fills up every 20 seconds. The resource that you get is called Adder's Gall, and they are used to cast certain instant heals. Those are as follows. Druo Coal. This is basically Sage's Lustrate. It's 600 potency off global. Ixocoal. Basically Sage's Indom, 400 potency AoE off global. And Caracol, basically Sage's Sacred Soil, reduces damage by 10% for 15 seconds and gives everybody regen. And Torocol, this is basically Sage's, wait, this is a new one, 600 potency off global with a damage reduction. And by the way, all of those will restore your MP a bit. So that's it for the Adder's Gall heals. Then you've got normal instant heals that are just on a normal cooldown. There's Physis. It's an AoE regen for 21 seconds on a minute cooldown. And Physis 2, which is a beefier Physis that will also increase your healing spells by 10%. That's on a 3-minute cooldown. Holos is a 300 potency AoE heal on a 1-minute cooldown, and it looks freaking cool. Then there's 2 interesting shield cooldowns, Haima and Panhaima. Haima is the single target version. It'll put 5 stacks of a shield on a person, and every time damage is dealt, it will eat up the stacks of the barrier and apply a new barrier. And then whatever is left at the end of the timer will trigger a heal for each stack remaining. And then Panhaima is the same thing just for AoE. Very interesting.
Yeah.
If that wasn't enough.
I was literally about to say very interesting. This is a crazy class. Like, just gut reaction. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play Scholar because I know Scholar. And, obviously the new jobs that are going to be in Endwalker are going to be jobs that are going to start 10 levels lower. So they should start at level 60, I believe. So you'll have to get them from 60 to 70 and then 70 to 80. So it's going to take, longer to get them ready to play at in game. So I'm definitely going to come back. This looks super interesting. It's not going to be one that I main like right out the gate though.
You've got some other utility abilities as well. There's Icarus, of course. It's the Gundam Wings gap closer on a healer, probably because of the point blank AoEs. There's Zoe. It doubles the amount cured by your next healing spell. There's Rizomata, which just gives you 1 stack of Adder's Gall, the blue one. And finally, there's Krasis. It increases your healing magic on everybody by 20%. Notice that there's no DPS utility for Sage. This means that Scholar still has a fighting chance. And that is everything. But either way, Sage is looking really cool. Of course, I didn't have any...
Yeah, I mean, Sage does look, like I said, it looks pretty cool. It looks, this is definitely the runner-up healer for me. And I could see it potentially becoming my main healer once I got it up. But right out the gate, in that spot, that top 5 spot, I'm going to put Scholar and just put an asterisk next to it and say, like, obviously Sage doesn't start out at level 70, so I'm not going to be playing that until, I get through the core of Endwalker with whatever actual class I'm going to play. It looks cool, but not cool enough for me to be like, yeah, let me jump back 10 levels and get from 60 to 70 and then 70, onto 80. So, yeah, it definitely looks cool. It's the most like sci-fi looking thing we've had for a job. I mean, Machinist was probably as close as we got, and that was more like steampunky, I guess. This definitely looks pretty sci-fi. Okay, so that's the 4 healers. We got 87 melee DPS. No, not 87. So we have melee DPS as the last category here. So we've got Ninja. We've got Monk. We've got Samurai, Reaper, and Dragoon. We got 5 classes to check out here, and I got to put these in order. So we're going to do Reaper last, obviously, because it's the new one. The next one down is going to be Samurai, because I've been playing Samurai, and I really enjoy Samurai. It's going to be hard to beat out Samurai. Then probably I'm going to say Ninja, then Monk, then Dragoon. Maybe Dragoon and Monk, they're interchangeable. So we'll take a look at Monk first, because I have not that I have the least. I've helped a buddy make a max level Monk, but I haven't played max level Monk. Okay, so we'll go Monk, Dragoon, Ninja, Samurai, and then we'll check out the new Reaper class.
Monkey.
Now, I know Monk has some pretty interesting changes that I think look relatively cool. I think their core mechanic of just kind of dancing through the different stances hasn't really changed, and I don't find that to be the most interesting type of playstyle. I do like just punching shit in the face, but I don't know if, that core loop has changed much, if at all. So we'll see. It might jump it pretty far up the list if it has changed. The way it plays is not like a complete turnoff or anything. It's just not the most exciting thing in the world to me.
This job got some pretty big changes, and it's a...
Okay. we start with this job got some pretty big changes.
About time. Monk players have had to deal with a lot of topsy-turvy stuff over the years, and it looks like it's going to be in a great spot for Endwalker. But first, I have a disclaimer. I was sponsored by Square...
All right.
Firstly, Monk has instant transmission. It's called Thunderclap and has 3 charges. Such
nice
mobility. Let's talk about the big change. Masterful.
I love gap closers. I'll take them all day, every day, as many charges, as many times as I can use them. Absolutely.
Let's talk about the big change. Masterful Blitz. When you use Perfect Balance, which is on a 40-second cooldown by the way, and gives you 3 stacks of Perfect Balance, you will gain Beast Chakra, which is either Oppo Oppo, Curl, or Raptor, depending on which weapon skill you spent the Perfect Balance stack on. Then you spend those Beast Chakra on Masterful Blitz, which will change into a different skill depending on how many Beast Chakra types that you got. Kind of like Mudra's, but the order of the Beast Chakra doesn't matter. just the different amount of types. They are as follows.
Okay, kind of like Mudra from Ninja, but the order doesn't matter. Okay, got it. Okay, so what are we getting from that? There's an ability on a 40-second cooldown that when you cast it, it gives you stacks of Perfect Grace or whatever the hell it was called. And then depending on which beast spells you spend those stacks on, that will give you different beast chakra. Okay, so if there's a variety of beasts that you're like, can you just do the main rotation where you go through all 3 beasts? Or do you have to spend like all 3 of them on the same beast? I'm not sure. Let's roll it back just a little bit. Okay, 3 stacks of perfect balance, each stack allowing the execution of a weapon skill that requires a certain form without being in that form. So yeah, you can just like go through all 3, right?
Of perfect balance. You will gain Beast Chakra, which is either Oppo Oppo, Curl, or Raptor, depending on which weapon skill you spent the perfect balance stack on. Then you spend...
Okay, so you can do like Oppo 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 Oppo. That was a little weird. So you can do that, or you can get some variety in with your perfect balance. So it's up to you whether you have 1, 2, or 3 different kinds, which we're going to see that's going to change the way the ability functions.
Those Beast Chakra on Masterful Blitz, which will change in...
Yeah, so see 1 chakra type Elixir Field, 2 chakra types Celestial Revolution, 3 Rising Phoenix, and if you have 3 in both Nadi, which I'm assuming are the dots on the end, but we'll find out, then you do Phantom Rush. Okay, let's see what those look like and what they do.
Into a different skill depending on how many Beast Chakra types that you got. Kind of like Mudra's, but the order of the Beast Chakra doesn't matter, just the different amount of types. They
I like
are
this
as follows.
so far.
All 1 type is Elixir Field, a 600 potency AoE, and that'll give you a Lunar Nadi resource. With 2 types of Beast Chakra, you'll get Celestial Revolution, a 450 potency attack, and it'll give you whichever Nadi that you are missing. And then with 3 different types of Beast Chakra, it'll be Rising Phoenix, a 700 potency AoE, and that gives you a Solar Nadi. Well, what is the Lunar and Solar Nadi for? If you have all 3 types of Beast Chakra and both Lunar and Solar Nadis, then Masterful Blitz will become Phantom Rush, a 950 potency AoE attack, and then all of these will give you Formless Fist.
Oh, that looks sick. That was some like anime stuff right there.
So let you use a weapon skill regardless of form after. This is such a cool mechanic, and it happens pretty often too, because you'll be doing it every 40 seconds. Now overall there are no more fist stances, but there is Riddle of Fire and Riddle of Earth still there, and you get a new one, Riddle of Wind, which will reduce your auto attack delay by 50% for 15 seconds, and that's on a 90-second cooldown. The positional requirements were also removed for True Strike and Twin Snakes. So Monk still has a lot of positionals, but
that's good. There's still, yeah, like he said, there's still a lot of positions. This mechanic seems very interesting. It's kind of feels like a split between Samurai and Ninja, and I like the mechanics for both of those. So having this in here definitely seems this takes Monk up quite a bit for me.
It's not everything. Brotherhood will now guarantee that you get a chakra whenever a party member does a weapon skill or cast a spell. And Arm of the Destroyer will get upgraded to Shadow of the Destroyer, a 140 potency AoE, and it's a guaranteed crit. And that is it for Monk. The biggest change is definitely to Masterful Blitz mechanic and add some...
Yeah, the addition of the Masterful Blitz mechanic, and this being something that you do every 40 seconds, and it having different skills and different applications and stuff like that makes Monk a lot more interesting to me. Also, the removal of a couple of positional requirements for abilities also seems pretty cool. So we're starting off fairly strong here in the melee category, and like Dragoon's gonna have to do a lot to beat out Monk. So let's see if it makes the cut.
Dragoon is one of those jobs that's just so iconic and awesome and pointy that all it really needed was more iconic, awesome, pointy things. Speaking of, look at the job gear. It is so pointy. I feel like I'm gonna get impaled just looking at it. It's perfect for when a dragon tries to eat you. But first, I have a disclaimer.
All right.
Dragoon's rotation was...
As far as I know, Dragoon basically just got some quality of life stuff and a couple of new abilities, but we'll see.
is already pretty streamlined in Shadowbringers, but now it runs like a sports car. You've got new finishers, new tools, and more quality of life. Firstly, Blood of the Dragon is no longer an ability, but a permanent trait. This means you get it for free and you can never drop your Dragon Balls. I mean, you don't go blue all the time anymore, but hey, that just makes Life of the Dragon more special. Full Thrust was upgraded to Heaven's Thrust, and Chaos Thrust was upgraded to Chaotic Spring. This comes along with potency increases, but more importantly, they look cool. There are still positionals on Wheeling Thrust and Fang and Claw, but you don't need to hit them in order to unlock Raiden Thrust, so that's pretty neat. But that's not all. When you execute Raiden Thrust, you obtain a Dragon Scale. It's actually called a First Mind's Focus, but it looks like a dragon skill, so I'm gonna call it that. Anyway, you get 2 of these dragon skills, as in complete your 2 separate rotations, and boom, you get the double dragon attack, Wormwind Thrust, and off global Dragoon's AoE rotation.
Yo, that was sick looking. Damn, they are like doing it up with the spell effects in Endwalker, man. Holy crap. That was cool as hell.
Rotations, and boom, you get the double dragon attack.
Look at this.
Thrust, and off global line AoE.
That is cool.
AoE rotation got a combo finisher treatment as well. Finisher 3-part AoE combo, and you unlock a new AoE that replaces Doomspike called Draconian Fury, which will also give you a dragon scale.
I like the.
You remember the 10% damage buff you used to get from Disavow? Well, now it's called Power Surge, and you get it from doing your AoE combo too. That's right, you can rejoice now. And in fact, whenever you complete either your AoE combo or your single target combo, you'll end up having both Raiden Thrust and Draconian Fury ready, so it provides an on-ramp to switch between single target and AoE combos easier.
Okay.
There's a couple other changes, like Lance Charge is now a 10% buff, but it's on a minute cooldown, so you'll be using it more often. Along with Battle Litany being 2 minutes instead of 3 and for 15 seconds. And Spine Shadow Dive gets 2 charges now, so there's even more chances to die from Animation Lock. Let's go! And then since Blood of the Dragon is a trait now, there's no more timer on your bar, like on your gauge. They could probably add Power Surge as the timer to the gauge if they really wanted to, since that's also 30 seconds. Would people even like that? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you, Dragoons. Anyway, that's Dragoon. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, so like Dragoon is one that I play, but it's just so... It's weird to try to visualize the abilities for me. Like a lot of times I can visualize the rotation and the abilities for the different jobs in my head, and I know how everything goes and everything. But like with Dragoon, it's weird. I don't know if it's the spell effects or what, but I have a hard time like connecting what's going on with Dragoon to what I understand up here if I don't have the job in front of me. Like if I have it in front of me and I'm playing it, I'm fine. But like when it comes to actually visualizing what the heck is going on, like in a video like this, I'm like, yeah, it's hard for me to follow for whatever reason. Overall, it looks cool. That twin dragon thing looks pretty fun. I think this is about even with Monk, just in the sense of like I'd play either one of them, but I really doubt that either one of them is going to be the main like melee DPS that I play. But now we're getting into the ones that actually could be, starting with Ninja. We'll see how many changes Ninja got.
Naruto Hodo. This is Ninja. Ninja does mudras. Or if you play it like me, Ninja makes bunnies on top of their head. And yeah, this is Ninja's gear. I think it always looks really cool. I like the chainmail. And Trick Attack is still in the game. Okay, moving on. Endwalker really means end of dots because Shadowfang was removed. Goodbye, dot. There was a new
I'm so sorry. I have no idea what I'm doing on Ninja. Please forgive. Oh, man.
Goodbye, dot. There is a new GCD, Huraijin. The important part of this is that it grants Huton. You probably don't want to do this instead of Armor Crush, since Armor Crush is higher potency, but it provides an on-ramp if you ever drop Huton, or you know, maybe some other big brain strats that I don't know about. Assassination is different. It's like Dream Within a Dream, and then it becomes Dream Within a Dream. You know, fake it till you make it. Aeolian Edge and Armor Crush will now grant you a 15 Ninki gauge, so that's pretty neat. Mace Suite will now not only eat up Suiton to increase your Ninki.
This guy sounds like me trying to understand Black Mage right now, and it makes me feel better about myself.
gauge, but it will increase Babakakura's potency to 400. And your Bunshin dude unlocked a new attack. It's called Phantom Kamaitachi. It sends your shadow to do a 550 potency AoE. Yeah, it's a ranged attack. And if Raiton wasn't already cool enough, it's got a 3-part combo now. You've got Raiton into Fort Raiju into Fleeting Raiju. And both of those are high potency, and both of them are gap closers. Yeah. And then there's one last new skill, Hollow Nozuchi, a triggered ability. When you have your Doton out already, and then you do your AoE combo, it will trigger your Doton to pulse with snakes for 100 potency. What? And that's spammable. It'll happen every time you finish your 1-2 combo. Oh. And that is everything for Ninja. My favorite part about it is definitely that new Raiton combo. Thank you so much for watching, and all of my...
Yeah, that was definitely short and sweet. I'm just covering the patch notes or the tooltips for sure. Yeah, this guy, yeah. He was like me trying to discuss Black Mage. Either way, like, I just think Ninja overall is a cooler concept than Monk and Dragoon, so it takes the cake for me. But just based on this video, you know, from Lazy Zor here, you know, I don't think it's gonna beat out Samurai. So let's get a look at Samurai. Let's see how my main class has changed. From what I understand, it hasn't changed very much. It got a couple new abilities, basically. And then we'll take a look at Reaper and see if somehow Reaper will manage to beat out Samurai. Yeah, you understand? Yes, I get the ninja. Like, no, not really. Maybe that's where we need like a Mr. Happy video. All right, Samurai.
Ah, yes, Samurai. So desu ka. That's right, I know a couple Japanese phrases, and that qualifies me to be your senpai today and teach you the changes of Zabureido. Samurai got charges for days. Tsubame Geishi and Meikyo Shisui both got 2 charges.
Ooh, hell yeah. Okay. Meikyo Shisui is one that I forget to use a lot. It'll be nice to have the maybe with the charges, the extra charges, I can use it more often. And then Tsubame Gaishi is just that's gonna be great to have 2 charges on, like, absolutely. Because when you get to like the end game of you know, Final Fantasy and you're playing, you know, max level Samurai, you can kind of go through a rotation. And you're supposed to basically end off with Tsubame Gaishi, but you end up kind of doing one and then skipping the next one because it's on cooldown, and then come back around and do it again. So having 2 will basically make it so that hopefully you can use it every single time or close to that.
This is very, very, very good. Iki Shoten is now a 2-minute cooldown instead of 1 minute, but it gives you access to the Dimensional Blade Slash, known as Ogi Namikiri, which combos into Namikiri at a whopping 1200 potency. Oh yeah, and it's a Kone AoE. If Shoha wasn't enough for you already, you
like, I like having more AoE options that aren't tied to the Kinky gauge.
Kone AoE. If Shoha wasn't enough for you already, you get Shoha 2, Return of the Shoha. Yeah. It's an AoE version for use in your AoE situation.
Hell yeah.
Which means 3 or more targets. Please use your AoE skills on AoE. Thank you. You also get a new AoE combo off of Fuga called Hyosetsu. It grants you the Setsu sticker, otherwise known as that green one. This will provide an AoE avenue of
Okay, so they're literally just taking Samurai. They're taking everything Samurai and they're filling in the gaps that are in Shadowbringers now. Like, hey, how come we can't get the green one from AoE? Well, now you can with this new ability.
Getting any of the 3 stickers you need. Tsubame Geishi no longer gives you another meditate stack, but Ogi Namikiri does, and Shoha's potency was greatly increased to make up for that as well.
Okay, so we don't get a meditation stack from Shoha, which is part of our like main rotation, but we get it from the new crazy AoE thing that we can do.
Little change to Third Eye. It will no longer grant you the Eyes Open buff.
Wait, what? What? Eyes Open is annoying. Tell me they tweaked it.
Increased to make up for that as well. Another little change to Third Eye. It will no longer grant you the Eyes Open buff, but it will instead give you 10 Kenki gauge. As such, Hisatsu Seigan is now deleted. Goodbye. And that is everything that Samurai got. There are various potency
I mean, I guess we don't have to do that anymore. So we don't have to worry about the eyes open. That's cool. There's something that they mentioned that he didn't mention in here. And I don't know if that's because he didn't know it or what. But I think we can we scale back? Let's see. Basically, your AoE is able to, from what I understood, your AoE abilities are able to give you your buffs now. So you don't have to do the single target and then go into AoE. And then if you don't do the AoE, you can't get it back. You got to go back to single target. Like, instead of having to spin up your buffs on single target, if you're going straight into AoE, you can just get your buffs from AoE. And that's just a huge quality of life thing for Samurai. So yeah, Samurai's the best. Samurai wins. Oh, we got Reaper. Let's check out Reaper.
Reaper is so edgy, and really it's just living its...
So many good changes. Yeah, absolutely. To Samurai for sure, but just in general, yeah, there's a lot of good changes. But Samurai has a lot for making the rotation a lot smoother.
Best life. Or afterlife? Anyway, this is its job gear. I really like the hat. Let's take a look.
All right, let's see what we got going on for Reaper here. Now, I did see a kind of like explanation about this on the Media Tour 1, where the game designers were playing through the Reaper and kind of giving it a little bit of a showcase. But I'm interested to see what, you know, a regular player has to say about it.
Reaper has two main resources. There's the Soul Gauge, which is the red one, and the Shroud Gauge, otherwise known as the blue one. The overall goal is to use your normal attacks to generate Soul Gauge. Then you spend this Soul Gauge to use avatar attacks. Using one of those attacks will unlock the use of a Soul Reaver attack, and those will generate Shroud Gauge, which...
Now, when I saw the demo for this, the impression that I got was it's fairly easy to build up the red gauge, the soul gauge, right? But that it was pretty hard to generate the shroud gauge, even if you were generating a lot of soul gauge. I don't know if that's the case here, but that was my impression, and it looked like it might be a little bit clunky, but I'm not sure.
The blue one. And then you spend the Shroud Gauge to let the avatar possess you, which I'm sure is perfectly safe. Once in your spooky mode, you go real fast and you alternate attacks, and you finish it off with a big 1000 potency casted attack.
We gotta roll that back. Roll that
using
back.
One of those attacks will unlock the use of a Soul Reaver.
Look at this. Okay, look at this shit in the background. Okay, look beyond the skills. Look at what he's doing to the target dummy. These animations are insane.
Reaper has two main resources. There's the Soul Gauge, which is the red one, and the Shroud Gauge, otherwise known as the blue one. The overall goal is to use your normal,
you know, I obviously like the teal color, so
then you spend
I'm on board
Soul
there.
Gauge to use avatar attacks. Using one of those attacks will unlock the use of a Soul Reaver attack.
That was whatever the hell that was right there was so cool. Like with this big like
to use
beast thing.
Attacks. Using one of those attacks will unlock the use of a Soul
whatever
Reaver
that
attack,
is.
and those will generate Shroud Gauge, with the blue one. And then you spend the Shroud Gauge to let the avatar possess you, which I'm sure is perfectly safe. Once in your spooky mode, you go real fast and you alternate attacks, and you finish it off with a big 1000 potency casted attack.
Did you see that? Like, holy crap. Holy crap. I do like gotta go fast. Samurai is going to make you feel good. Definitely going warrior main, white mage, and monk off. Man, you're like the exact opposite of me. Not that that's like a bad thing, but I was like, warrior's like the tank I'm the least interested in. White mage is pretty low. Monk is pretty low. Reaper is sparkly. I'm a fan of sparkly, not gonna lie. But let's keep looking at the rest of it and see if we can, you know, get through the rest of this video without me going, ooh, shiny.
called Communio. Also, this graphic is just a single target. There's also AoE versions of this stuff. So for the normal attacks that generate your soul gauge, Reaper is a melee, and thus it must have a 1-2-3 combo. It is known. And that combo is Slice into Waxing Slice into Infernal Slice, all of which will increase your soul gauge, which is the red one. Then for AoE, you have an AoE combo, Spinning Scythe into Nightmare Scythe. Please do not use this on single target. And then there are two normal attacks that are on charges. This is Soul Slice for single target and Soul Scythe for AoE. These will generate a whopping 50 soul gauge. Okay, so that was the normal stuff. Next are the avatar attacks, all of which will cost 50 soul gauge. There's Blood Stalk.
Okay, so we're building up soul gauge, and then we're spending it on these avatar attacks, which are the ones that look sick as hell.
Next are the avatar attacks, all of which will cost 50 soul gauge. There's Bloodstalk for single target and Grim Swath for a cone AoE. Both of these will unlock one Soul Reaver attack. Then there's an additional one on a minute cooldown called Gluttony. This is a big potency AoE that gives you 2 Soul Reaver attacks. Now,
This looks good. This looks really good.
Grim Swath for a cone AoE. Both of these will unlock one Soul Reaver attack. Then there's an additional one on a minute cooldown called Gluttony. This is a big potency AoE that gives you 2 Soul Reaver attacks. Now on to the Soul Reaver attacks. There's 3 of them. And these are the ones that generate 10 Shroud Gauge, the blue one. For single target, there's Gibbet and Gallows. These are the ones with positionals. And when you use one of them, it will enhance the other one. So you will be alternating uses of these. As a side note, these will also alter your Bloodstock, but that just happens anyway. You don't really have to think about it. It's just the button changes. And the AoE Soul Reaver attack is called Guillotine, which is a cone. Once you've got 50 Shroud...
Those look okay. Honestly, those look okay. They look like the normal attacks, basically. Okay, so we're building the gauge to spin the gauge. The gauge gives us attacks. Then we use those attacks to build up a different gauge. Then we use that gauge to do this shit.
Gauge, it's time to spend it on Enshroud to, and I quote, offer your flesh as a vessel to your avatar? You get a whole makeover with glowing red eyes and glowing arms and probably a whole slew of back problems but hey, you do more damage now. Your Soul Reaver and avatar attacks will now transform.
I don't need to see any more. Like 3 of my friends are dying to play Reaper. I can see why. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to main Reaper simply because I don't want to level from 60 to 70 and then 70 to 80. I want to start at 70. But this is going to be like one of the things I level like real soon after I'm done with the main game content. Like, and it may take over for me at in game when I get it up there because this looks nice. It's got to play nice too, but ugh.
Into their Lemure versions. Okay, so basically you have 5 available Lemure Shroud stacks. When you spend these on the upgraded Soul Reaver attacks, they will burn up and allow you to use the upgraded Avatar attacks. So for single target, you will do this. Void Reaping into Cross Reaping, which will burn up 2 Shroud stacks and allow you to use Lemure's Slice. You do that combo twice, and you'll have 1 stack left to use on Communio, the big finisher. Then instead for AoE, you'll do 2 Grim Reaping into a Lemure's Scythe, and you do that combo twice and finish it off with a Communio. And that is the core loop. It may sound a little strange, but once you play it, it's actually very intuitive and flows super well.
Oh my god. It looks so good. It looks so good. I mean, it's not even because it's new, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought Sage looked interesting, right? Interesting, but I still wanted to play Scholar over Sage with the caveat of like, yeah, maybe I'll play Sage and, you know, it'll be better and I'll like that one more and I'll main that one as my healer. But this just... Did the entire expansion's animation budget go into this job? Like, what the hell? Like, Sage looks cool, but it doesn't look like this. We got a lot of cool animations, but not this. Look Half the screen is full of red laser beams. Damn.
Is pushing the wrong buttons, so do as I say and not as I do. But that's not all. You've got an array of tools to help you out. The most important tool is this debuff that needs to be on your targets at all times. It's called Death's Design, of course. It increases the damage that you deal to said target by 10%. Shadow of Death is your single target version.
Fairy changes seem like big quality of life. Yeah, I mean, they are. I think overall, you know, Scholar is basically playing the same. I kind of did my reaction to that already, but it still looks good, and I still really enjoy Scholar, and I like having the mechanics that they have look really good to me. I like, you know, getting the resource and choosing what to spend it on, having to make those choices and stuff. But Sage does look pretty cool as well, and both of those to me look like the more interesting healers over the other two. So I'll be maining one of them. And it's kind of like the same thing here. Like, Samurai is definitely top of my list right now because I've got the most experience with it. And he didn't do a very good job on Ninja. It's the only one that I feel like he didn't do a good job on. So Ninja could possibly overtake Samurai once I get more experience with it and see how it plays. And Reaper could possibly overtake Samurai once I get it leveled up and see how it plays. But at the end of the day, I really, really like Samurai, so it may be that neither one of them beat out Samurai, and I just stick with Samurai as like the main job that I'm playing.
Of this, and Whirl of Death is your AoE version. I did not keep this up because I'm a big old dummy and I cannot read. Reaper's ranged attack is called Harp, and interestingly, it has a short cast time. Related to that, there's two gap closers, Hell's Ingress and Hell's Egress. One of them jumps you forward, the other one jumps you back. And when you use one, the other one changes back to a teleport to bring you back to your Hell's Gate that you left behind. It's called a Hell's Gate. And this will also make your Harp instant cast. And Reaper has utility. There's Arcane Crest. It's a shield that you put on yourself that's 10% of your HP and lasts 5 seconds. If it breaks, you get a regen on everybody. So helpful. And this is a fun one. There's Arcane Circle. It's a 3% damage buff for everybody around you for 20 seconds. But the real kicker is that they all have 5 seconds to land a weapon skill or a spell. And if they do, they will give you an Immortal Sacrifice stack, which you can have up to 8 of them if everybody does it. Yes, that means you 2 healers. You can spend these Immortal Sacrifice stacks on Plentiful Harvest, which goes up in potency according to how many stacks that you have. And as long as you have 1 stack, which you always will, it'll give you 50 Shroud Gauge, so you can immediately go into Avatar Possession mode. And the last thing that you've got is Soul Sow, which allows you to use Harvest Moon. It's a big AoE attack. Soul Sow is instant outside of combat, but it has a long cast time during combat. So you'd probably only be doing this during downtime or, of course, outside of battle. And that is everything for Reaper. I had a freaking blast playing it. It just...
Yeah, a lot of that just sounds really, really good. So, yeah. So I'm gonna say that my top job for melee DPS is gonna be Samurai, with the caveat of, like, obviously Reaper looks really good, but since it's a new job and it's gonna start at a lower level, and there's gonna be that time investment of getting it up to Endwalker, you know, level, and I just want to jump in on Endwalker and play the whole expansion, do all the story, and be caught up so that I can play the story patch by patch and not play catch up like I am doing right now. I'm not going to be playing Sage or Reaper as my starter class for Final Fantasy XIV, but they could become my main job once, you know, I've played through the story and, you know, for the patches and other things that come out, or even the end game once I get to that point. So, jumping back here, that was the last of the class categories that we had to go through. So we started out with tanks. My number 1 tank that I'm the most interested in right now is Gunbreaker. That's followed by Dark Knight and Paladin at a tie. Warrior in last place. Moving on to the Magic classes. Summoner, definitely my number 1. It's the only one I've really been playing up until this point. Although Red Mage is looking pretty good. It's a close second. And then Black Mage is still like my least, like it's the class or the job I'm the least interested in, period. Going into range DPS, I'm just kind of not very interested in Machinist or Bard. And just kind of like, I think Dancer is interesting, but healers, I'm not interested in the Astrologian, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Astrologian. Not interested in that. Not interested in White Mage. My pick there is Scholar. And with the caveat of, like, obviously Sage, is going to have to be leveled up and stuff. And, may take over because I do think Sage looks interesting. It looks more interesting than the other healers aside from Scholar. And then for melee DPS, bottom of the barrel for me is Dragoon and Monk, but they still look pretty cool in general. Then you got Ninja. Samurai is my pick with the caveat for Reaper. So the 5 there, we got Gunbreaker, we got Summoner, Scholar, Samurai, and then we have Dancer. So you can just write Dancer off. That brings us down to Gunbreaker, Samurai, Summoner, and Scholar. Out of all those, I think they're all pretty interesting. I try to run a tank, but my Gunbreaker is not up to max level. So chances are I won't be running that out the gate because my time between now and Endwalker is going to be spent on basically just trying to get through all the rest of the MSQ. So we could probably rule out Gunbreaker as an initial main for me. I do have Scholar and Summoner to the mid 70s, so as long as I hit level 80, I can keep progressing through the story on my Samurai, and that would mean that for me, it's looking like Samurai, Scholar, or Summoner is going to be the one that I go with for my main job for Endwalker. And Samurai is pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy Samurai quite a bit. It does have the downside of not being a tank or healer, though, because, with dungeon queues and things like that, that might be an issue, especially since we're going to have a bunch of Reapers all over the place. So I don't know. I'd probably see how dungeon times are, and if dungeon times are terrible, then I might just roll with Summoner Scholar. That is the other nice thing about Summoner Scholar is you level up one, it levels up the other, so you can effectively level 2 jobs at the same time. And they're both jobs that are number 1 in their categories for me. So, maybe that's what I'll go with. I've been enjoying Scholar and Summoner quite a bit. Scholar doesn't seem to have changed all that much, which is fine for me because I like it the way it is. And the changes to Summoner just look cool in general. So, yeah, all seems pretty good there. Sounds like some solid picks. I mean, honestly, I don't really feel like you can go wrong. For the most part, everything looks pretty good. I mean, Black Mage kind of bored me out of my mind, but that's a me thing, not a Black Mage thing. And a couple of classes, if you're looking for changes, a couple of classes didn't get all that many changes. But for some of the classes, I'm not looking for changes, and just the quality of life upgrades that we got is good enough. I like the way Samurai plays, so just getting quality of life and a couple new skills and stuff is fine. I don't need a total revamp of that to make it interesting for me. I honestly probably didn't need a revamp of Summoner either, but it looks good. They were like, we took away the AoE, or not the AoE, the damage over time. And I was like, no. And then I saw what they replaced it with, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So, yeah, we'll see. So at this point, I think we kind of gone through everything. I don't know if I have the energy and focus to do more in-depth videos. Checking out Mr. Happy stuff over here, where he does go in depth a little bit more than Lazy Sword does. Like I said, we use Lazy Sword just because his videos were shorter. But what I do want to do here at the end is I want to take a look at. We kind of did a little bit, but I want to take a look at all the job outfits that are coming in Endwalker. So I've got a video up here where we can check them all out. And I also was thinking that as kind of a special thing here, I would open up the benchmark and show you guys my character, because when Endwalker comes out, I'm going to be switching over to a bunny boy, and I have a couple of designs for bunny boys in the benchmark, and so I figured I'd show them to you and see what you guys think about them, see if you like one more than the other, kind of remind myself of what it looks like and stuff, and do that as well. So 100% Summoner looks awesome. Yeah, you should go back, when you can, check out the VOD. I kind of talked about Summoner and compared it to like Druid from World of Warcraft a little bit. Yeah, you can check it out and see what I had to say about that. So this is going to be over on Mayoni's channel. So if you want to see this, check it out. I'm trying to shout out, the people's videos that I'm using here. So they get credit, and you guys can find more good Final Fantasy XIV content creators as well. So yeah, let's check them out. I think.
Oh, all right, here we are. So we're looking at the job artists I can use across my entire channel. We are so with this opportunity.
So he's going to go through this pretty quickly. All right, so obviously the Gunbreaker just made me think of Squall right off the bat. I love the Gunblade in this one. I think it's one of the coolest Gunblades that they've had. Like, for this being a set that essentially you're just going to get with very low effort in terms of, the aesthetics, absolutely awesome. Yeah, I like this a lot. This one is the Dark Knight, no helmet. I think this set is sick. Like, I love the detail in the armor. It's just so good. That like red stone right there just kind of makes it for me, because it breaks up the all the black just enough, and it's mirrored here in the sword. Now, I don't like the way the sword looks in this stance, but I like the way the sword looks on the back. This one's the Dragoon. I think this one does a good job. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Dragoon gear in general, because it is very black and it has a ton of detail and spikes and stuff everywhere, which is not the same as being black with a ton of detail and not having all the spikes. It's very pointy, and I don't know that I'm on board with pointy. But it's not like the armor looks bad. Just a little too like gothic gargoyles and cathedral spires for me. All right, this is the monk. It's pretty typical monk stuff. I'm pretty neutral on this one. It's kind of whatever. Yeah, so many spikes, so many. Samurai, so this looks like Orin from Final Fantasy X, which is cool. I mean, I'm pretty neutral on this. It looks like a samurai outfit. Same thing with this one. This one, it's the ninja one. I don't like the mask, honestly. I'm not a big fan of the mask that we have here for whatever reason. I do like black and purple. I'm a big fan of that. I like the kind of like Naruto cloud thing they have over here. And depending on whether these gloves are just gloves or whether they have the bracers as well, I can 100% see these gloves being used in some like emo outfits. And the swords here are pretty cool too. The summoner outfit, I already said, like, this one looks really cool. I love the like top part that they have here with the black and gold and stuff. And it, like, on the back, the transition looks a little weird, but I think it works on the front. And I think it works mainly because it's got the incorporation of the belts and stuff that run from the front of the outfit here. Like, if we go back and we look right here, I think it works because you have like this that ties into this, and then it goes into that, and it kind of just brings, like, you have the brown that goes throughout, and then you have the white that goes up into the chest. I think from this angle it works really well. On the back it looks a little bit weird because it's kind of like you just transition from black to white back to black. It's a little bit odd, but overall I like the set. The book's kind of whatever. I've just generally been whatever about the books. We got Black Mage. I love the necklace on the Black Mage. I think it's absolutely awesome. It's a nice black color for the robe. This is Red Mage. Red Mage. Honestly, a lot of the Red Mage outfits, in my opinion, look really stupid. And this one looks pretty good. So I said it before, but I'll take it. I think the cloak is actually like really sick looking. I like the cloak quite a bit. The sword's pretty good too. The handle's a little bit crazy. But I like the sword blade being red. That's pretty cool. Which one is this one? Oh, Dancer. Yeah. Actually, I think this is pretty nice for the Dancer. In general. I like the weapons. The Bard doesn't look as bad without the stupid hat, but it does still look kind of stupid. I don't know. I just really don't like the way they do bards in this game. Machinist, I am not liking the Machinist in general. I do really like the gun, and I kind of like the jacket, but I don't like a lot of the other stuff. I don't like the helmet for it at all. They tend to look similar a lot. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is the Summoner, right? Not Summoner, Scholar. This is a Scholar. It looks very scholarly. Scholars have also had a lot of stupid and dorky outfits, and this one honestly looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. The bows are kind of weird. It's got like a military anime vibe. You got a patch on the shoulder here looking like something out of Attack on Titan. Astrologian, you know, I was gonna say it looked pretty good. I just don't know about what's going on down here with the pants and the... Yeah, nah. I'm gonna say no. The Shadowbringers one was better. That looks okay. I like the kind of like laurel wreath thing going on. I actually like the way the White Mage one looks here. This is a little weird, but I don't think it looks all that terrible. We got the Sage. Not a fan of this, but I do like the coat and everything. Like the guy in the video said, it looks like something that Alphino would wear, and that's 100% accurate. I like how the things go on your back like that. That's kind of cool. It's fine. It's like a starter one, you know? It's the iconic one, like kind of from the trailer or whatever, so... We'll have to see what they come up with for Sage later on. We got the Reaper. Again, it's alright. I won't be able to wear the hat on my bunny boy. I like the Paladin set here. It's the one from the trailer. I think it looks pretty good overall. It is definitely very Paladin. Weird visor on the Sage, I'm guessing. Warrior, I don't know what's going on with this axe. It looks weird to me. And then this is just getting into the concept art and stuff like that. So... But yeah, overall, pretty good sets, actually. Like, some of the sets I haven't really liked all that much, but I think for most of these, I would wear these on my characters. Even the Bard, even though I don't, like, love... Yeah, most of the stuff I would wear if I had it. Even the Astrologian that I said I wasn't, like, a crazy big fan of. It wasn't, like, terrible. It's kind of terrible. It's a little bit terrible. Okay, let me see if I can find the benchmark. I should still have it. I don't think I got rid of it. Can I just open it? No, I can't. Okay, I gotta find the actual benchmark. Let's see. Give me a second. Might be in here. Or maybe not. I thought I had it. If I don't have it, then oh well. Too bad, I guess. Man, that's old. Wow, Academy Live, damn. Yeah, maybe I don't have it. I thought it was just a file. Is it in my downloads? This is just bonus content. At this point, the stream's basically over. But I'm trying to see if I don't think I uninstalled the benchmark, but maybe I did. There's an application. Let me see. As long as it doesn't try to install it, we're good. Okay, cool. We got it. Work calls. I'll check out the VOD for sure. Enjoy hearing your thoughts on the changes. So thanks, man. I appreciate you tuning in and chatting with me. I'm assuming most people are going to end up checking out the VOD just because I'm streaming in the middle of the day on Sunday. So, but it is what it is. Graveyard shift sucks, and I just gotta, I figured it'd be better to do that than to be a total zombie. I'm already going into zombie mode as it is. So if we can get this benchmark going, I'm gonna show off. I think I have 2 character designs for my bunny boy, and then we're gonna call it good. If this thing acts like it doesn't want to load for another couple more seconds here, we're just gonna call it good. My wife was like peeking in here. I don't know if she needs something or not, but I'm winding it down anyway, so. Yeah, we're getting no response. So I'm going to look into this a different time, and I'll put out a video where I will showcase those character designs. And so coming up this week, I should have a video out that's going to be an update on the anime season. Hey, we got the benchmark, so we'll bring it back up. I may still make a separate video, but it's so loud. Oh my god. Okay. I don't want to actually run. I don't want to run the benchmark. I want to do the character design. No, I didn't click the right thing. Okay, let's pull it up here. So next week, I'm going to have a video, or this coming week, I should have a video out for the new anime season. I am finishing up watching first episodes of everything, and I'm basically just going to give an updated impressions for the season based off the first episode, and then I'll probably do another one about halfway through and then one at the end. But we did our big anime live stream. That went pretty well. So I wanted to bring that back and make sure I did those updates there as well. So this took a little bit to load for the benchmark. So it might take it just a minute here as well to boot up the character creation. We'll check it out. I'm crashing so hard. All right, we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, we got a screen here, so we're good. All right, come on. Okay, so I made a bunch of different characters, and you can put them in all different sorts of gear on here. So if you want to try this out yourself, you can download the Endwalker benchmark tool and design some characters for yourself. But I think there's Rava, and I want to say Rava. That's why, I don't know. Let's see. So this was my character before I race changed, and I race changed over to this guy. So I actually designed my current character in here with the gear, and I'm gonna miss his awesome hair. But we've got the Rava. So this is what I'm looking at for my bunny boy. I've got this version, and then I also have the Vina, I think. Yeah, right here. Which I like. I think I like this one. Maybe not with the scar. I don't remember. Yeah, I've got a version that doesn't have the scar. But this is what I think I'm gonna go for my my character. And there's a couple reasons why. I like the, let's see, if we go back over to the Rava. Yeah, the Rava's a little bit bigger. I like the Vina and the slouch, and then the brown and the yellow in the hair, plus the little white like tips on the ears, like all that going on right there, is very reminiscent of Emmett Selk, who has become one of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy. And I also thought that just overall this look was pretty emo, and that suited me really well. So this is what I think my character is going to end up looking like once I'm able to change him over when Endwalker comes out. So yeah, this was my my character I started streaming with, and then this was the one that I currently am playing as. And I think I'm going to switch over to this one. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited. My wife is already a bunny girl. So we're both going to be bunny people. And we're going to play Endwalker. And then we're going to do our like Final Fantasy wedding thing too in December. So yeah, check out the benchmark if you want to, you know, just mess around with some character creation with the updates in Endwalker. I don't think there's really anything else that's in there other than the bunny boys, but you can flip through and you can like change up the gear on your character if you want to like see what they look like as different, you know, classes and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool if you want to do that. I just thought this like Edmonton or whatever the hell it was called, Edenmorn, was like a sick set. Like, I want to get this set. So, all right, you guys, appreciate you tuning into the stream. Thanks for bearing with me while I was tired. We're gonna get this this backdrop like going with some more interesting stuff here pretty soon. And yeah, just thanks for continuing to be a part of the channel here. And you know, I'm trying to do my minimum like once a week stream. And if I can slide stuff in between there, then I'm doing it as I can with the schedule I have. So look forward to this week, the anime thing. And then this coming Sunday, I think we're going to be streaming the new Path of Exile League, which is called Legion, I think. It actually looks really good, like really, really good. And it's full of demons and stuff. We're coming up on Halloween. It looks spooky. It looks appropriate. And then the weekend after that, it's going to be the Hollow stream, which should be pretty fun, pretty exciting. So, all right, everybody. Y'all have fun. Have a good rest of your Sunday and have a good week. And I will see you back here live next Sunday for the next stream. Peace.